Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the few-minute delay for start, but we're here now. Well, I'm here now. Mark's going to be joining us here in a second. I see we already have somebody showing some Mando love. Don't trust Mark, he is a long man. Just joking. Hail Mando, I subbed to your channel because of AI Core. Well, welcome. This is MGM Prime. Podcast right in my ear. So, welcome. A little bit different than AI Corp, but you know, we have some good people on here. Give me a minute here. I'm going to check the links for this to make sure that everything is good to go. Whoops, you're probably going to hear double of that, sorry. I'm just going to get the links out to the Discord here real quick, and then we can begin soon. Lil Bruh says poggers. What's up, dude?
All right, I've returned.
Oh, welcome back. So yeah, everybody, we're joined here by Marc The Cyborg. If you don't know Mark already, I'll let Mark introduce himself.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Marc The Cyborg. I make gaming videos for Geeks and Gamers. And
Excellent gaming videos. You gotta add the qualifier in there.
Yeah, I try to not describe my own work as excellent. I'll let other people do the math on that part.
Yeah, if you're looking for some engaging gaming related content where like it's pure gaming related content, which is tough to find these days, definitely go check out Mark's videos over on Geeks and Gamers. And do you still post stuff on your personal channel too?
I usually just stream over there. So lately, my girlfriend and I have been doing a series where she drinks and watches me play Metal Gear Solid and reacts to the storyline. We're 3 episodes in. We just did the torture sequence. So we're about to scale the communications tower and fight the Hind D on the next episode.
Nice. So you're playing which one? Metal Gear Solid 2?
No, the original one. Metal Gear Solid
MGS 1.
Yeah.
Damn. Are you going to go through all of them?
That's the plan. I think 5 might be a little tricky. 5 and Peace Walker are going to be weird to do because they function more like RPGs than straight up like narrative action games that are movie-like. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how that goes.
That was a pretty big departure.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish they would go back. We were talking about this earlier, that they would go back and actually do like an HD remaster of the original Metal Gear Solid, Gear Solid 2.
There is a fan remaking Metal Gear Solid 1 in Unreal that I think it's called Shadow Moses is the name of it kind of like Black Mesa for Half-Life.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what it was reminding me of.
Yeah, and there's trailers for it online, but I don't know how far along they are with it. But for the last like 6 months, there's been rumors that like Sony's gonna buy the IP off Konami so that they can give it to Kojima to like finish Metal Gear 5 and do some remasters and stuff. But I don't know. I'm not 100% sure that that's gonna happen.
Oh,
which one of us is the traitor? Or not?
It's both of us. What's up, Anomaly?
We met on your podcast.
Yeah, you did this. You introduced us. You have done this yourself, Anomaly. Oh my god. Yeah, dude. What's your favorite Metal Gear Solid game? Mine is definitely Snake Eater.
Yeah, that's 3. I've got a big like wall scroll poster of it behind me.
Is it where he's at the tree? Is it the game box one?
It's like I don't know what I would call it. It's sort of like movie style artwork. It's hand drawn, but it's not Yoji Shinkawa art. It's more like production box art type stuff. But I mean, it's not like, I don't know how to describe it. I'll see if I can get a picture of it. I just don't want to put my camera on. Yeah. I look like sheer hell, and my lighting isn't done properly right now.
You have such a cool lighting in your room, though.
Yeah, it's all right. I have a couple black lights and some colored Philips Hue lights, and to try to make it so that my set is aesthetically pleasing, even if I'm just like an average looking dude.
Are you going to eventually become pro girl gamer and get some nano leafs?
X-Ray Girl has said that if I like propose to her, then she'll do a face reveal, and I think once I get her on the like a front center on camera, I could probably end up making a lot more money streaming. But until then, like, Also, the catch is if I propose to her, I'm not ever going to be able to sell to my audience that she's single and people have a chance with her. So
you can't run the con.
Yeah, no, I can't do the booby streamer thing with her. But
yeah,
and I've got no hope. I don't even think I'm attractive enough to the gay audience to really court that end of it. So.
You got to try, dude. Flex it.
I have to try to squeak forward on my personality and my gaming abilities, both of which are like average, but like not terrible, but not great either.
See, that's how I feel. It's like I was thinking about doing more live streaming. I'm going like over at Twitch, so going full Twitch thought, and it's like, is my personality strong enough to do that? Because my gaming skills certainly not. So it's like your personality really has to carry you there. Otherwise, you're a SOL, and I don't have the boobs for it either.
Yeah, I always think it's the funniest thing though. Game streaming, you either have to be really bad and have very over the top reactions to your failure, or be unbelievably good in order to have it just be your gaming ability that
like Shroud.
Yeah. But if you're just a guy that's like decent at video games to the point that you're not going to have any meme footage of how horrible you are, but also you're not going to be, there's no one's going to be making any highlight reels where it's like, oh my God, look at this guy get through all of Dark Souls with nothing but like a bandit knife and no armor. That's soul level 1. It's like, well, I know Dark Souls really well, but I'm never going to be able to do that. So I don't know.
Yeah, we're in the middle ground. That's why we're YouTubers.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Just I can analyze video games enough that I can write a decent script and record it. I think I have a decent speaking voice and I can edit. So that's the niche that I've carved.
Yeah, you got the Canadian charm going on.
Yeah, although everyone on Geeks and Gamers is constantly making fun of my accent. X-Ray Girl kind of dodges that because she's as Canadian as I am, but she has like a Valley Girl accent. I don't know how she.
A Canadian Valley Girl?
I don't know. I think she just like she watched a lot of like reality TV growing up or something. Like she doesn't sound Canadian the way I do. Like she sounds like she grew up in like Los Angeles. But no.
Is she from Canada?
Yeah, she grew up in Toronto.
Are you sure?
Absolutely sure. Yeah.
No secret life.
Well, I mean, honestly, if she was anywhere, like her parents were both born in Vietnam, but she is like born and raised in Canadian, in Toronto, which is like the city that I grew up in too. But yeah, no. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how she got that voice, but that's how she sounds, and it's part of the reason why I will frequently on stream get her confused with Tugs from Geeks and Gamers, like that Tug Life, because through a microphone they sound almost identical. And
oh, really?
Yeah. Even though Tugs is from like Las Vegas, and I don't know.
I don't know why every time I see Tugs, I just think Boston, Massachusetts for some reason. I don't know what it is.
I mean, I'm not sure where she's from originally. I know she's in Vegas now. So
oh yeah, she's a Vegas Golden Knights fan, which is the only thing that I don't like about her.
There you go.
Tugs is amazing.
You Americans and your sports rivalries.
Well, hey, this is hockey. Okay, it's hockey. So you fall into that category, my friend.
I guess that's true. Yeah, but I'm like my team is the Maple Leafs, and we've never won anything while I've been alive. So
well, hey, dude, I'm a Sharks fan, so I mean, I'm right there with you. We're not doing anything.
I guess that's true.
Absolute garbage. Charlie Spur with the first super chat of the evening. Thank you, Charlie. Just mob boss noms. Yeah, he was not happy that we were in here. He said, come to AI Core where the cool kids at. Lots of intellectuals on there. You have two big brain boys right here. We're your rivals tonight. Anomaly. Sorry.
We've both been on AI Core. The last time I was on, though, I just had to pop on for a minute. I forget what I was doing, but I might have had like another Geeks and Gamers stream to do or something. But I wanted to talk to you because it was just after the Halo gameplay.
Oh, really?
By you, I mean Anomaly, because he's like my Halo guy.
Yeah, dude, that's another thing that's going to be interesting to see coming up here pretty soon is how Infinite's actually going to do.
I'm hoping that with the Bethesda merger, they've given themselves a bit of extra breathing room. And I have a kind of op-ed video that I haven't recorded yet. I finished the script, though, assuming I don't have to end up editing it because things change. But basically on how Game Pass really has a chance at kind of changing the industry. Like basically the analogy that I use, I guess I'm spoiling a bit of my video now, is that Sony is trying to sell you a Blu-ray player, like both literally and metaphorically, and Xbox is trying to sell you a Netflix subscription. So there's lots of movies that you can't watch on Netflix and you would need to like buy a Blu-ray player or get them digital, like a la carte, and pay for them full price.
Yeah.
But a lot of the same people that would buy a Blu-ray player and buy a Blu-ray of a movie that they can't get on Netflix might still have a Netflix subscription just because of the sheer volume of content you can get for a reasonable monthly fee. And I think that if we get to the point that you can get Game Pass on a PlayStation also, and Microsoft's just like, yeah, the Xbox is just a place you can play Game Pass, but really we just want you to sign up for Game Pass wherever you are, then that could be a pretty interesting shift in the like quote console wars.
And that's, you know what, we'll talk about this. Let me get through these super chats because that's actually something that I think we could spend a little bit of time on without ruining your video too much. So don't feel free not to divulge everything.
Hey, you might have an insight that'll make me edit a part of my script. So
I doubt that. So again, Mark's more of like the gaming person. Obviously, if you're from this channel or you know me at all, it more goes into the social aspects that are kind of bleeding into our entertainment, which I'm not really too much of a fan of. So yeah, if you want the content of like pure gaming analytics and some dissection of games and things like we're talking about right now, this merger or the purchase of Bethesda by Microsoft, Mark's channel, I linked it down below. I didn't link the Geeks and Gamers one, but check out Mark's personal channel. That's where he streams at. But we'll get back to that in just 1 second. Let me read this super chat out here from Cool Man. Cool Man, what's up, dude? Thanks for joining. I'm giving you a very strongly worded complaint for streaming while Noms is streaming, traitor.
Oh, that's why you called us traitor.
We're getting it from all sides. Yeah, hey, your stream is on Tuesday, Noms. This is what are we on? What is today? Friday. Today's Friday. It's Friday. You and your shenanigans just ramping up the content.
Saturday for him though.
Oh, that's right. He's in Upside Down World. Charlie coming out again with another super chat. Put the word out. The one whole money bag to whoever brings me the head of the train. Okay, we're in trouble. We're in serious trouble. Noms is still angry. 2 big brains, bitch, please. Oh God, I love you, Noms. So with this whole purchase of Microsoft but with Microsoft purchasing Bethesda, somebody said in a comment of a video in my video that I did for that was that Microsoft is the equivalent of Thanos, and they're trying to buy up everything to snap Sony out of existence. Do you think that's really like what they're trying to do is dominate? When, for me, Microsoft has enough money to make that purchase like 4 or 5 times over. Their capital dwarfs Sony's, and it's not even funny. So if they could really wipe them out if they really wanted to. But I mean, do you think that that's kind of the angle they're going? Do you think they're going the anti-consumer route?
Because I think that if they wanted to do that, it wouldn't even be a question. They would just already be doing it. I do have a meme, though, that I need to locate and send to you because it's hilarious and very relevant to this topic. But okay, I could just probably explain it because it might take me a minute to find it. No, because I know it's in my image file somewhere, but I don't want to hold up your podcast.
No, you can find it and send it.
Vamping dead air. But basically, it's like a laser eyes pic. Oh wait, no, never mind. I found it.
Yeah, send it over.
All right. Here, I'll send it to you on Twitter, and then you can just share it on the stream. And sorry, everybody. But yeah, so I promise this will be worth it, and if it's not, I apologize.
If not, we're ending the stream.
Mando, it is sent to you now. Yeah, kick me off the stream if this isn't a funny enough meme for this. But it does very accurately like show what is actually possible. So, head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, says fuck it and buys Sony as well. Like that is actually an option for Microsoft. They won't, probably because they don't really feel like they need to. And I think that having Sony operating on its own and being at least competitively healthy, not necessarily dominating them, it keeps more people interested in video games. And I honestly think that next generation, like PlayStation 6, you'll probably be seeing hold on 1 second, I just had to sneeze. Oh, no, I'm good. Game Pass subs on PlayStation platforms, and I don't know if there will be another Xbox after the series line of Xboxes.
That's kind of the angle that I was going at, is that the console war, I mean, that's kind of dying out in terms of the physical. They're not making a ton of money on those consoles. I mean, I'm pretty sure with the last generation, they were losing money on console sales. Like, they're getting their money from monthly subscriptions. And I mean, Sony's completely ruthless when it comes to exclusives because they're actually paying, game developers to not put something on another platform
Yeah, yeah.
like third-party games.
And you can make the argument that some of those exclusivity deals, especially that Sony is doing, are less I guess anti-consumer than that. I'm not saying all of them, to trust me, I'm getting to Sony's anti-consumerism. But if they're like, say, something like Spider-Man or God of War, like if they're using one of their either first party studios or a second party studio that they have a funding relationship with, like Insomniac. Granted, Insomniac did do an Xbox game, a Sunset Overdrive, but they work with Sony much more with things like the Ratchet and Clank games. And Sony, unlike actually see Phantom Mandalorian and the things talking about, he was talking to Epic Cast. I was actually gonna reference the Epic Game Store. So that the Epic Game Store's exclusivity deals are essentially just paying the developers to not release something on Steam, whereas Sony, for the most part, isn't paying Insomniac to not release Spider-Man on Xbox. They're paying Insomniac to develop Spider-Man. But with things like Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop, the two Bethesda games that are still timed exclusives for PlayStation, those games Sony just flat out paid to not have on Xbox. The Spider-Man DLC and Avengers, they paid to not have come out on Xbox or PC. Like, it is really kind of crazy when they do stuff like that. And I think that Sony knows that the only card they have in the deck is their exclusive games. And I don't personally like that as a strategy, because I think, take for example, even I was playing Ghost of Tsushima today because Ryan Kindle and Lethal Lightning and either Josiah or Uche, one of the other Geeks and Gamer guys, and us, we're all going to play the multiplayer mode that they just launched.
Oh, nice.
And that game runs like unacceptably to me. But like, I mean, granted, it's probably because I'm a PC gamer, so I don't generally ever allow one of my games to run below 60 frames a second.
Yeah, we're used to the elite game experience.
Yeah, and in performance mode, Ghost of Tsushima kind of hits 30 most of the time. It's a very beautiful game as far as its like art direction goes, but it runs kind of like trash. Bloodborne is one of my favorite games of this past generation, and it absolutely runs like trash. So my whole thing with Sony is like, you guys, you're banking on exclusivity as your thing, and there's lots of Sony fans that'll be like, oh yeah, they make the best games imaginable, but it's like, well, I mean, no, they make third-person narrative-based adventure games that are a little different from each other, but share a lot of elements. And for the most part, they target 30 frames a second, and most of the time they don't even hit that, except for games like God of War that have a performance mode that kicks around 45 to 50 frames a second, but doesn't hit 60. And I'm just hoping that this generation, they give you the option to run those Sony exclusives in 1080p at a locked 60 without ray tracing, and don't just try to force people to play games that look like slideshows with really, really nice looking screenshots.
What is the before I do that, let me shout out Phantom Mandalorian here. Phantom Mandalorian with the super chat. Hello there, General Kenobi. Thank you, Phantom Mandalorian. Appreciate it, man.
That's one of the first comments that I had on my Cyberpunk video that went up today. I say hello there at the beginning of my videos, and someone said hello there, and my reply was General Kenobi.
Are you a big Star Wars fan?
Yeah. I've been a Star Wars fan since I was like, honestly, as far back as I can remember. Like maybe 3 years old is when I started watching the Star Wars movies. My dad made me with a dual deck VHS tape. He made me an extended play VHS with all 3 movies on one tape with the credits cut out. So like it had the scroll credits at the beginning, but no like end credits. So I kind of always thought they were just one really long movie.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's the super cut right there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the quality was absolutely trash, but it was like the original cuts with like the original effects, and
nice.
Yeah. And then
that's my preferred.
I was there opening day for all the special editions, opening day for all the prequels, opening day for Force Awakens, Rogue One, and The Last Jedi, and then I stopped caring about Star Wars.
Dude, it just took a nosedive off of a cliff. Absolute garbage. That's something that we love talking about, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I work for Geeks and Gamers. It's sort of what we do.
Exactly. we celebrate the life the Star Wars once had, and now it's a corpse. You know, with necromancy. That's what's going on. Disney has resurrected a corpse, unfortunately.
Well, that being said, I'm like the least controversial person on Geeks and Gamers, even when it comes to like Star Wars stuff. I just did a review of Star Wars Squadrons, and so many of the comments in the comment section were just like, "You're not talking enough about the SJWs in the game," and I'm just like, "Dude, I'm reviewing the video game." Like, they're like, "Well, it's EA Disney Star Wars, so it's bad." I'm just like, "Yeah, but I can't just make that my video." Like,
there's other people, myself included, that can handle the political aspect of it. We need somebody to talk about games without having politics in it, because I need time away from myself. I need to watch something we were just talking about this before the podcast, that's not, politics based, because it's everywhere. And I mean, we kind of perpetuate that on both sides, I think, but it's nice to have content creators that aren't just doing that. We need variety.
Yeah, no, and I mean that's sort of what I tried to do. I think now it's causing more tension that we've moved the gaming content back to the main Geeks and Gamers channel. Like for the last, not whole year, but for the last like 6 to 8 months or so, I've been on the Gaming with Geeks like side channel, and we've kind of moved the gaming content back over to the main channel. So it is causing some like drops in subscriptions and things like that, and people leaving angry comments like, "Why aren't you here?" Like, ragging on the people at EA Disney or Kathleen Kennedy and saying, "Why isn't she fired?" And I'm like, that's what like Jeremy and Josiah do, and they do that well. Like they're good at covering that stuff. That's not really my thing though. Like I don't. They all turn on their camera, they speak their mind, and they make their videos, sort of like similar to what I'm doing in podcast format right now.
Yeah.
But when I like need to actually carve out my thoughts on a specific topic, and I don't have a person I'm having a conversation with to play off to, I need to write a script so that my thoughts are like focused, direct, and targeted on what I actually want to say. And then I take my time. I try to edit it with some good gameplay footage, make it look nice. People often will like compare my videos to like IGN things, and I think it's actually really funny when they're like, "Oh, if I wanted videos like this, I'd watch IGN." And my reply is usually like, "I want an alternative to mainstream access media, but if I want a review of a game, I'll go to mainstream access media." It's like, okay, well, I was like, it's my perspective that's different, not my ability to make a video and like edit it well. Like, I don't think anyone's ever watched an IGN video and were like, the quality of this is shit. It's like, well, no, like they look good because they have money. And
it better look good for how much money they have.
Yeah, I know. Like I make all of my videos just in my little office that I share with my girlfriend on one computer with my staff of one. So
this is the whole of Marc the Cyborg Geeks and Gamers right here.
Indeed. Yeah. But yeah, so like I don't know, it's just it's interesting to try to hit the balance between like the controversial aspects of things like Star Wars and modern Lucasfilm with just like, okay, but they released a modern Lucasfilm Star Wars game. How is the game though? And like for Squadrons, I guess my final verdict is that it's an awesome VR game. The story sucks.
Yeah,
like it's a really bad story, and I do say that in the video a lot. And I don't think it's worth buying even at its reduced price if you're just playing it on a flat panel monitor. But I think if you have a VR headset, it's probably the best like in cockpit Star Wars flight experience that you can get. Granted, people also will say that like the X-Wing and TIE Fighter games are better. Sure, I mean I played those when I was a kid, and I do remember liking them, but I wouldn't say I'm like an expert in their system. Like I played a lot of X-Wing Alliance when I was a kid, but if you told me to write a 3,000 word script on X-Wing Alliance right now, I wouldn't even know where to begin. Like I'd be like, okay, I don't remember those games well enough to actually.
You're talking about the original ones, right?
Yeah. Like well, X-Wing Alliance I think was like the third one. There was X-Wing the fourth, I guess. X-Wing TIE Fighter, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and then X-Wing Alliance. So, and I'm pretty sure X-Wing Alliance was the last one. And there's like, and people that will tell me, oh, those games are better than Squadrons. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. But like,
why is no one talking about Rogue Squadron?
Rogue Squadron, I actually did kind of touch on that in the video. And that's more of an arcade shooter. Like it's one that's built around playing on a controller, like especially in particular, a single stick N64 controller. It's all third person view, or at least the first one was. And it's a lot of in-atmosphere fighting. Whereas Squadrons is kind of the opposite of that. It's first person only. It's only in space. And it's really kind of geared around giving you like the in-cockpit experience. That being said, I think it was very clearly made as a VR game that someone at EA is like, we're not going to sell any copies of this if it's only in VR. Make a flat panel version of it as well. And that's the part of the game that I think doesn't work. Like, I think the field of view is horrendous. You can hardly see anything out of the TIE fighter cockpits when you're playing just on a screen. But if you're playing in VR and you have that depth perception of the HUD that's in front of you that you can kind of see around when you're like looking at it in VR, or tracking targets when you're in your X-Wing or an A-Wing, you can like look with your head. It feels really good, and it's really, really fun to play. And the tricky thing about trying to convey that in a review, especially a review that you're giving to a lot of people who the second they hear EA and Disney, they immediately just want to hate the product. I'm just like, well, I was like, I've got to be fair to the product too, because ultimately if people click on the Geeks and Gamers video and our review, or my, I guess specifically, but like me as a representative of Geeks and Gamers reviews this Disney Star Wars product, and the video begins with, "Hi, this is a Disney Star Wars product, so we hate it." The end.
Yeah.
Then like it's like, well, then are we any better than the Access Media people who are like, "The Last Jedi is the most masterpiece written Star Wars movie ever. It's the best thing since Empire Strikes Back. Please give us money." Like, it's the same thing, right? It's just that's not their opinion. They're not thinking about it. They're just told, "You like this movie, make a video where you like this movie," and that's it.
Well, that's what distinguishes, people that actually have brains and people that are more sheep or follow money if you're a content creator.
Yeah, but I mean that's also why though I don't score my reviews. So I don't give Squadrons like a 6 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10 or 4 out of 10, whatever, because ultimately I don't think that I can reliably tie a metric to a score. So if I gave, I know, Squadrons a 5, but Jedi Fallen Order a 7, people will be like, okay, why is this a 5 and this a 7? And I wouldn't be able to accurately be like, this is why. So I'm like, then it ultimately, I'm admitting the math is meaningless. So I just write my reviews. I say the review, every single one of them is like a bespoke score geared around that game. And ultimately the score for Squadrons is, if you have VR, buy it. If you don't, maybe pick it up when it's super on sale if you're curious, but otherwise you can skip it.
Yeah, I think that's the damn it. My voice is messed up. I was recording a video earlier, so my voice is shot, but I think that's the problem with a lot of score stuff. You're going to end up with an IGN too much water situation. That's the ultimate meme of why the user reviews, or not user reviews, or why review scores are totally meaningless, because what's the difference between a 7.8 and a 7.7? Would it have been 7.9 if there was slightly less water type Pokemon? And I mean, yeah, people will often say even that controversy gets taken out of context, but ultimately, what is the purpose of a 100-point scale? The one that I can agree with is, if you guys know a reviewer named ACG. Yes.
Angry Centaur Gaming.
His scale is perfect.
Yeah, he does a scale that ultimately it's like a 5-point scale, but he says it in more clear terms, kind of like the way I focus mine to exactly what I'm trying to tell you to do as far as spending your money on the game, where I think his is buy, wait for sale, rent, or deep sale if it's PC, although now I don't think you can even rent games, or never touch it. So it's like 4 points, and he's just like, yeah, no, this is a buy. This one you should wait for a sale on. This one you should wait for a super sale or skip it, and this one you should never touch. And I think that's much better, because you can say that, I don't know, let's pick 2 really good games, like Half-Life 2 and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Pick a good Star Wars game. Those are both just buy games. It's not one,
no question.
One is a masterpiece 10 out of 10 and one is a 10.001 out of 10. It's no, that's meaningless math that doesn't mean anything. That's redundant, I guess, but you know what I mean? It's you're trying to use numbers to represent something that isn't really mathematical at all. Or it can't really be scored by a percentage because you're not applying a reliable metric.
Well, yeah, you could say the same thing, but if somebody scores this as a 7 and then somebody says, no, these bullet points mean a 9, it's well, okay.
Yeah, but exactly. So, but if it's a 7 and you say no, because I actually say the graphics are a 5 out of 10, the gameplay is a 4 out of 10. If you go through it like that and then average them all out and that's how you get your score, I'm more willing to accept it. You just need to apply that to every single game you review. You can't say, well, I'm bumping this one up 2 points because I personally really enjoyed it. It's no. Your enjoyment should kind of not matter if you're saying that you're mathematically critiquing this. Like it's sort of kind of like the Mahler thing of like, if you're going to do objective analysis, then you have to make the analysis objective. You can't just start throwing subjective things and arbitrarily mixing it in with your objective criticism, because then what does any of it mean?
Yeah,
And
absolutely nothing.
if you eliminate the score and just say, this is me talking about this game, and I'm going to try to tell you as much as I can about it and what I think you should do as far as the interaction between your money and this game. And I think that it's a much more honest way to do it than being like, this is a 9 out of 10, buy now. Because then it's like, well, are you saying that because you think the game is really worth buying genuinely for everyone that looks at that number? Or is it like, you know, your website was sponsored by Activision or whatever, or whatever it ends up
as
being.
you see the banners above the videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of rough with review scores. That's why again, the kind of content that you do is appreciated. It gives people I think it's like a very relatable way to look at things and to be able to give out information. It's like, okay, here's the critique, take it as you will, kind of thing.
Yeah, for the longest time, I didn't even ever really want to call the videos I make reviews, because I thought that did kind of lump it into that category of like, is this a game I should buy or not buy? I used to just name my 3 series that I would take is Marc The Cyborg recommends, Marc The Cyborg takes aim if it's just an impressions video, and Marc The Cyborg pulls the trigger on if it's a negative review, which I only made one of. The only game I negatively reviewed was Wolfenstein Youngblood. And my video caught some flack for spending most of the video talking about the rest of the Wolfenstein games.
Well, that you need to escape somehow before you lose your mind.
I think that was the thing. Like, I was just trying to say, like, hey guys, like, this is from the perspective of someone who does really like the new Wolfenstein games. I wanted to like this game. I really did give it a chance, but it is pretty bad for a lot of very, very clear-cut reasons. And that's the kind of game I think that you should buy if it's $5 and you have a friend who wants to like play a co-op game over a weekend with you, and you need a co-op game to play, you both like first-person shooters, then I think it would be fine. But it was spending like, I think it was, I'm not sure if it was full price. I think it might have been like a $40 game when it launched. Spending $40 on that game, nah, just don't do it. And especially if your plan was to play that game single player, which they said you can do, man.
You cannot. It's a fucking nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare to do that. The AI is atrocious. I cannot stand it.
I had a human friend who's like good at video games that I was playing it with, and like we had to kind of break the game in order to beat the final boss.
Were you cheesing it?
Kind of, yeah. Like, it was the only way to do it. We're just like, well, this is sort of designed in a way where we're constantly getting knocked down. And if you had to wait for an AI teammate to revive you, it's like, well, they wouldn't make it.
Well, you see, like, I forget whose review it was. Maybe it was ACG's. I can't remember. But they were showing that. Oh no, it was SkillUp's review. And I think it was the final boss, and the AI would just run out into the middle of the arena and get downed. And then apparently the AI will die and you lose.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And it's what the hell?
The final boss, I think, was the most broken part of the game, but it in general was a really weird idea to like shoehorn in leveling and like gear mechanics into Wolfenstein. Just because like it felt like all the weapons were nerfed as a result. I don't know. I really, really didn't like it.
Well, that's the thing with this level gating thing. So, I mean, this is kind of like a big transition, but it's kind of the same thing. The problem that I had with Wolfenstein Youngblood was I didn't like the level gating with the gun. So why is this gun doing less damage to these Nazis? And why is that in this game specifically? We never had this before. Yeah. And then all of a sudden for this, you throw that in. So the same thing's being implemented in what's the new Batman, or not Batman? It's is it Arkham Knights?
Yeah, Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights. So why are we getting level gating in a superhero video game? So you have Batgirl who's going to get beat down by some level 30 thugs. That makes zero sense to me.
I think they were saying in that game, though, that the enemies level with you, which every time they do that in a game, I always wonder, like, okay, then why not just
why
not remove the leveling? It's like, well, you level up and then you get more skills. It's like, but if the damage scales, then like, I mean, kind of the point of an RPG where you have an experience system where you can level. One of the most fun things about it is if you then walk through an area that was terrifying to you before because you were just getting rocked by every enemy you encounter, all of a sudden you're like one-shotting every single one of them. It's like, oh yeah, now I'm essentially a god at this point. Like that's always a good moment in an RPG. Or if you're stuck at a certain spot, you can just kind of level grind and then make it's like an adaptive difficulty. You can make the game a little bit easier for yourself so you can get past that one spot. But when the enemies level with you, it kind of seems redundant. I think that with the way Avengers has been doing, which is also a like level gated superhero co-op game, I don't think it's totally out of the question that WB Montreal might tweak what they're doing with Gotham Knights.
They can see what the mistakes they've made.
Yeah, it's like maybe we shouldn't try to turn this into like a live service game that we can keep on milking people for months and months and months. Maybe we should just give them a more straight up Arkham game that they just have the option to play 2-player co-op with. That being said, I do like that it's 2-player co-op. I think that is a much better idea than doing 4 because of what's required to balance a 4-player experience. How
overpowered would you be? Like, could you imagine just all the stealth takedowns?
And that's the thing. It's like stealth takedowns, even with 2 people, is tricky, and you have to make sure that you're communicating. I actually found that out while I was playing around with the Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer mode today. Me and my teammate, who I wasn't able to talk to because I just had a match-made teammate, were not coordinating our stealth kills. So there would be times where he'd do a stealth kill and then there'd be a more powerful enemy that I was about to stealth kill that would then get aggroed, and we'd all of a sudden be in a fight with all of their buddies. But I don't know, like honestly, the thing that's most concerning to me in this Gotham Knights trailer that we're watching here though is the damage numbers. I don't think I like that.
It's very Assassin's Creed now. Like with the damage numbers flying up,
and like Assassin's Creed never even used to be like that. Like that's a last 2 Assassin's Creed games thing. Yeah,
Odyssey and Origins, and now Valhalla, which I'm really disappointed. But I don't. The problem I have with that is it's just like I feel like it devalues. I love RPGs. RPGs are probably my second favorite genre of games outside of first-person shooters. But like seeing it in a game where you're supposed to be able to be very powerful or use weapons like Valhalla. It's like, why you're going to swing an axe at somebody 80 times before they drop? It's kind of the problem that the Division had with me, where it's like, these are human enemies. My suspension of disbelief is not, it doesn't go that far.
Yeah, and I find that the Division is always better when you're leveled appropriately for the mission that you're doing, and the guns behave more like real guns should. Like, if you get a sniper rifle headshot and it kills in 1 hit, that seems to just make a hell of a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But I think that it's as much as like I actually used to be a very like avid Destiny player. It's kind of Destiny that did this to the gaming industry.
They ruined it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like they ruined it, but I ruined is probably not the accurate term because
I like Destiny. Just a FYI for everybody, I like Destiny.
Well, and like I did actually quite like this. I've kind of fallen off Destiny more than like decided, I'm never
right
playing
before
Destiny
the new
again.
Expansion. Come on, man.
Well, no. It was a while ago. It was anything. It was because of an old relationship that I had with a girl that I used to play Destiny with her all the time. And after we broke up, I just would get depressed walking around the tower, and I just kind of like got like dissuaded from playing the game. And then once you've stopped playing a game like Destiny for like 6 months, I don't even know if I'd have a YouTube career if I was still playing Destiny, because that it took up a lot of my time. Like I would constantly have to,
many dailies and tasks and everything.
Well, exactly. Like even if you're not going to keep up with the dailies, if you're just going to raid 3 times a week, that is like 3 nights of your week that you pretty much got to write off, unless they're raids with a consistent crew that like the guys, you play with them all the time, and you guys know that raid like the back of your hand. Like I could Destiny like year 2, the end of year 2, I can knock out King's Fall with like my buddies from like my clan, the Technodrome. If it was the consistent crew that I would always run King's Fall with, we could knock that out in like 45 minutes and it would be no problem. That is still 45 minutes 3 times a week, because you're going to do it with all 3 of your characters.
Yeah.
Because you have 3 characters in a game like Destiny. But yeah, so that's the thing. And I found that once I stopped playing Destiny, it was actually kind of a very good thing I got over that relationship, because now I'm dating a much better woman. And I found myself with time to do things like actually get through the Dark Souls games, which are now like, you know, 2 of my my favorite games ever, because I really don't like Dark Souls 2. But Dark Souls 1 and 3 are fantastic.
That's the only one I've ever played.
2?
Yes, yeah.
Oh my god.
I know.
Oh no, man. Yeah, go back and play the first one. At the very least, the first half of Dark Souls 1 is masterpiece here. It sort of falls apart after the Ornstein and Smo fight. It's not bad. There's still some good stuff there, and the DLC is actually really good, like the Artorias DLC. And 3 is really solid too. 3 is actually kind of an easier recommend, because it's overall, it doesn't hit the heights that Dark Souls 1 hits, but it's more consistent the whole way through, I think. But anyways, I had time to get through all those games, and then I played Yakuza 0, and a friend of mine was asking me what I was playing that week, and I was like, yeah, I'm playing this game, Yakuza 0, and he's like, did you like it? Or like, should I get it? I'm like, it's really good, but no, I don't think you'd like it at all. And then he's like, oh, what do you mean? And I was like, I don't know how to explain this, but before I kind of went full-time military and everything, I had a film degree, so I know how to edit. And I was testing out NVIDIA Shadowplay and capturing a bunch of footage of Yakuza 0. So it was just a coincidence when he said, so what do you mean by it's an awesome game, but I would hate it? I was like, well, tell you what, I have a bunch of footage of this game saved. I'll edit you a review and then just make a little video for you explaining why I think it's really good, but why I don't think you would like it. And I didn't address it to him or keep referencing it to. It's my buddy Alfonso, Hater Fonz, I believe is him on Steam. And people ended up liking it. And then I think it was the next week, Plague Tale Innocence came out, which was a pretty short game that I ended up really liking, and I was still capturing footage for that. And I was like, I think I could probably get a review just like the one I did for Yakuza in the next in the week. I could get one out within the launch window, because this game is pretty short. I knocked it out in 5 hours, 6 hours, and I liked it. So I did the next one on that, and then I kind of just kept making them. And around the time I did one for Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, I saw on Twitter someone replied to Jeremy about something and said, hey, why doesn't Geeks and Gamers make any gaming content? And then I just sent him a message or replied to that tweet, not even a DM or anything, saying, hey, I make gaming content. And I just copy and pasted my Curse of the Moon video. And then Jeremy DMs me and he's like, hey, will you make gaming content for me? And I was like, you fucking serious? I kind of half sent it to him as a joke. So I was pretty surprised when he DM'd me and was like, yeah, I would like to give you a job doing this thing. And so I told people in the military, I'm like, yeah, so I'm making gaming videos actually for real now, and I have to kind of be on top of it. And then it took me a while to actually make one for Geeks and Gamers that they're like, yeah, they decided, okay, you should make reviews of old Star Wars games. And my first one was for Republic Commando.
Nice.
And then I did Force Unleashed, which to this day is my most popular video. It's got 186,000 views, and damn. I don't even know how that happened. I think it just got picked up in the algorithm accidentally. And and then eventually I think Call of Duty Modern Warfare I think was the first review I made for a non-Star Wars game, but for Geeks and Gamers. And then in January, Jeremy was just like, yeah, can you just make videos for me every week? And I sort of just ended up agreeing to that. Have since been sort of neglecting my own channel, but I do make an effort to stream over there.
Dude, the content creation grind is one hell of a thing. It's and then you want to start doing other stuff like streaming, and it's just adding on to the pile. It's fun,
especially with what Geeks and Gamers has been doing lately. We've got Among Us streams happening, and then we have our Warzone Wednesday thing where we're playing Call of Duty, and now people want to start playing Phasmophobia pretty regularly. And I'm just like, guys, I need to finish 3 games a month, write scripts on them, and then edit videos that take me 20 hours.
Yeah.
When am I gonna I do need time to do these things. And so keeping up with my own channel as well would be almost an impossibility, but Jeremy, he makes it worth my while. I guess I'll leave it at that. I won't go into too many details.
Oh, that's good.
But Jeffrey Turner though said, hey dude, saw you playing Ghost of Tsushima earlier. I just saw that was highlighted and realized I hadn't addressed it. But yes, I don't often play on PlayStation, but when I do, it's for a game that I'm probably going to have to be playing on a Geeks and Gamers stream.
But when you do, you like your voice being recorded by Sony.
Yeah. Oh, that's why I'm never using party chat, I think, ever. Not that I think for me, it probably wouldn't even make much of a big deal. Like, I'm not one for using the gamer words, even accidentally. So
The camera.
I doubt I would get tagged for it, but I would more say like, hey, yeah, like if we're gonna play a game on PlayStation, let's just talk on Discord to just like avoid that in case anyone says something that sounds like something else and someone else in the party decides to be a wet blanket and be like, I'm reporting you to Sony.
Yeah. You know what worries me with that even more is that who like what could they possibly be doing with that information, and who are they selling stuff to? Because if they're recording all of your conversations, it's kind of like you know how cookies work, right?
Well,
Where you start seeing stuff popping up after you say a word. Like if I say Razer mouse, I'm going to start getting advertisement for Razer mice on my phone now.
Well, actually, the funniest thing in the world was X-Ray Girl and I were going to our storage area. Funny thing about being an amputee is I had to go pick up one of my robot legs from my storage unit that was incorrectly put there because our movers labeled that box incorrectly. And she was like, okay, while we're there, I want to get that little IKEA monitor TV stand thing, that black one on the wheels that you were using, because I want to put, I forget what, I think she wants to use it as like a little like liquor cart, like it has like her vodka and her bottles of wine and stuff in it. So I'm like, oh yeah, that would work for that. And then when we get to the storage area, she like flicks on her phone and Facebook has an advertisement for that specific IKEA rolly cart TV stand thing.
That's absurd.
That we were going to pick up from and we're like, wow, that's a little on the creepy side, because how are we specific enough about that they even knew that's what we were talking about? And I'm like, or do they have access to our IKEA account and know that I bought one of those? So they figure that that's what I'd be talking about. I was like, wow, that is some serious 1984 stuff happening. If that's the truth.
These phones know more about us than we know about ourselves. It tracks literally everything. It predicts stuff.
I think that is very literally true and not at all a conspiracy theory, because
it's very true.
You could find things about me in the photos file on my phone that you could then ask me a question and say like, how are you styling your hair in this month of this year? And I would never be able to answer it, but it's on my phone.
Yeah, you see like iPhones. Do you have iPhone or do you Android?
I have an iPhone.
Okay, so they have that Memories album now and like the Selfies album and stuff. It's like, okay. And then you have Samsung that's doing this facial recognition stuff and multi-shot. So it's doing like 18 different kinds of photos at once, and it's doing best shots. So it's able to analyze, faces, and it can tell the difference between these things.
Yeah.
So it's pretty soon you're going to be like, hey, show me the photo of me in that suit. And it's just going to pull up. Which is absolutely wild. Before we move on from this, I want to go back to Gotham Knights really quick.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Who are you going to be playing as in that game?
I really like Nightwing, but I'm probably going to be playing it with the Geeks and Gamers guys, and Lethal Lightning and Ryan Kittle in particular are
Red Hood.
Yeah, they're super Gotham fans. They're like Gotham Bat Family fans, I should probably say, not Gotham Knights fans. And I've read a fair amount of not even just Batman, but a bunch of the Bat Family. But I think that if someone else picks Nightwing before me, I'll probably want to go Red Hood. But I guess it's all 2-player though. So yeah, I guess I would always have the option of being either Nightwing or Red Hood. One of the first 2 Robins.
Yeah, you know what? Why don't we get like why aren't we getting what's his face? Damian Wayne. Let's get that. I want to be the little brat.
I was thinking it was Damian Wayne because they like the Arkham verse Tim Drake had like the Eminem style like kind of short crop shaved head, but
he was all 8 Miled out.
But then apparently the they've said that it's definitely not in the Arkham universe. It's like a different thing.
Which is wait, it's not in the Arkham universe with this going on?
Yeah, I know. With like the Bruce Wayne death thing that is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, they're like, no, it's a different universe. It's inspired by the Arkham universe in a lot of ways, but it is not canon in the Arkham games.
How shitty.
Well,
I was excited. I'm like, okay, yeah, Bruce dies, everyone comes back together. Tim's married to Barbara now. That's really great. And what the hell?
I honestly think Rocksteady has like a hate boner for not Ubisoft for WB Montreal. Like, because they had that Arkham remastered collection on PS4 and Xbox One that Origins was not even mentioned in. It wasn't even mentioned as like a concept for possible DLC. It was just nope, the complete Arkham HD collection with Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. And it's like, oh, okay. The Arkham trilogy with like Arkham. It's like, okay, well, I mean, there was another Arkham game that even had its own like PlayStation Vita spin-off.
I liked Origins. I didn't think it was bad. It's not my favorite, but
I think like my hot take is I think that like Origins actually is my favorite.
Oh, really?
I mean, I think Arkham Asylum is a better game for the most part, but it's the ending really kind of loses a lot of steam. Like I think the Bane Joker was a weird choice. Spoilers for Arkham Asylum. And
how old that game? Spoiler alert for a
but like, yeah, you'd be
8-year-old game.
Amazed how many people get pissed about spoilers.
Somebody said that to me about a Star Wars movie. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Spoiler alert! Like, where do you think you are right now?
I know it's a little on the crazy side at times. I've had like reviews I made for games that are like 10 years old that people are like, oh yeah, way to ruin the game. I'm like, dude, if you haven't played I forget if only I could remember which game I was talking about there, but I was like, look, this game's been out long enough that if you haven't played it, my assumption would be that you're, oh, you know what? It was, I think it was Control, which actually hadn't been out that long. It had been out for a year though.
Yeah, but it's also Control, so who cares?
Oh, no. It was Alan Wake. That's why I was thinking it was Control.
Oh,
so
Remedy,
people were saying that because I made the Alan Wake video, and then like the next week I made the video on Control, or like 2 weeks later. And they're like, yeah, way to ruin Alan Wake. And I'm just like, dude, if you have not played Alan Wake yet, I'm going to assume that your intention was to never play it. Therefore, the only reason you're watching my video is that you're a little bit curious about what you might be missing. And if I think that telling you some things about the story, or like things that happen later game in the story, might actually make you be like, oh, this sounds like actually a pretty cool story. Like, no matter what I tell you in one of my videos, I'm never going to give you the full experience of playing the game. Like, and for the most part, I don't think games are necessarily a medium that can be made or broken by knowing plot details. Like,
yeah,
some games maybe you can make that argument, but I think even if you know the ending of like BioShock or the big twist in Knights of the Old Republic, I still think those games are worth playing. Like, I don't think that knowing them would ruin those games. They might hit you a bit harder if you don't know them, but ultimately it's like, I don't know, are they really gonna, like, if you're like, oh well, I mean, I guess spoilers for BioShock. So if you find out that like "would you kindly" was a trigger word that made the guy control your mind and follow his orders, like if I told you that, would you be like, oh, okay, well, I was going to play BioShock, but now.
Yeah, that's really what broke it for you.
Yeah, I know. So it always kind of, like movies, I kind of get it, because there are definitely times when people like know twists in movies that's like, oh, okay, that kind of pulled all the tension out of the movie for me. But I don't necessarily think that most genres of games are geared around your first-hand revealing of the plot slowly. It's more the gameplay experience that I tend to think is the thing people play games for. There's certainly stories that I think are fantastic in games, especially I think there's some JRPGs that I've even been recently playing through myself, that if you said, oh, here's what happens in 3 games from now, because the Trails series is kind of a consistent story arc, sort of like an MCU type thing.
Yeah.
You could tell me some things that happen in Trails of Cold Steel 3. I'm on the first one right now. And I'd be like, oh, I wish I didn't know that. But I wouldn't be like, well, now I'm not playing.
Yeah, I think I don't think it would really crush. Well, it shouldn't crush anybody's, want to play a game. It might damper your narrative experience, but if it's a game that old, you would have played it already. If you really cared that much about the story, you would already have played it.
Yeah, I know. I entirely agree, but I also think that like my big thing is I won't if I watch a review of a game that I'm concerned about spoilers for, I'm doing it wrong, because I honestly think that like if you're concerned about spoilers for a game, it means that you're pretty sure that you want to play it.
Yeah, go in fresh.
Means, like don't watch a review of it, because then I mean, like unless you're hoping to find something in that video that will make people say, "Oh yeah, so I shouldn't play this game." Like I think reviews are generally for people who have very little interest in a game and don't think they're going to want to play it, but watch a video that maybe says, "Oh, actually this game looks pretty interesting. Maybe I will play it." Or people who are pumped for a game don't really care about the spoilers and watch it, and then it's like, "Oh, well, yeah, I guess this game does look pretty shitty after all," like I imagine a lot of people did for The Last of Us Part 2. But I guarantee you that there's lots of people that if you didn't know the spoilers for The Last of Us Part 2, you probably would have bought the game and been pissed. So maybe sometimes finding out the spoilers is a good thing.
Yeah, it saves your money. God, that game is a goddamn dumpster fire.
Yeah, and The Last of Us, though, that's the kind of game where you could easily make the argument that knowing the spoilers does functionally make the game less enjoyable, because like its narrative experience is kind of the thing. Like the gameplay in The Last of Us is fine. It's not mind-blowing or anything. I think as a stealth game it really fails. It's pretty decent as a survival horror game. I think I'll even make that argument about the original Last of Us. But I think if you're going to play a stealth game, like we're on Metal Gear Mando, so play Metal Gear Solid 5. It's much more finely tuned stealth gameplay than you're going to get in The Last of Us, or go old school and play something like Thief.
Dude, Thief is amazing.
Yeah.
Fighting Expert, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Says Trader. Dude, all these people are in the Discord. I'm getting shade from my own Discord members. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. We're going to talk about Cyberpunk at some point. So this podcast, for those of you who don't know, is kind of gaming in general, but Cyberpunk, since we just had a new episode release, we're going to talk about that. But since we're on the topic of Batman, I have to ask really quick, are you more excited for Gotham Knights or for Suicide Squad?
I think Gotham Knights.
Really?
I don't think Suicide Squad looks very good.
Damn.
I think they've made some weird choices with the art direction. I think the core concept of making a co-op game where you fight the Justice League is, they're either going to be pulling punches like crazy or doing a lot of really contrived, like, oh, so Superman was disabled but not killed because you can't kill Superman, or like how's it gonna make any sense how Harley Quinn is doing anything to like Aquaman or the Flash?
I thought that was a very interesting way to go. Is why okay, I get Margot Robbie's popular, but Harley Quinn was never that character. Like she's got a baseball bat, for God's sakes. She's not going against Superman, so that balancing is going to be really rough unless they have Superman, disposed of for almost the entire game.
Well, till the end. They're doing the like, oh, this is a co-op live service game that we can be adding content to for years. And it's like, well, or like, I mean, you could just make a game about the Suicide Squad that is like geared around, playing as the members of the Suicide Squad. Like, I think the second you say like, oh, this is a co-op game that you can team up with 3 of your friends, it's like, well, then you got to make it make sense from a gameplay perspective why anyone is picking Harley Quinn over Deadshot. Like you've got a guy with perfect aim, or a dude that, or a chick that has like a baseball bat and has snarky humor. It's like, I in a story they can all function and serve different roles, but in a game where you have particularly in a multiplayer game, because in a single player game, if you had the player bouncing back and forth between members of the Suicide Squad doing content that was kind of geared around playing as that person, it could make some sense. But when you have it be a co-op game where people can select their characters, and some characters will not be selected sometimes, other characters will not be selected other times, you sort of have to balance them all against each other, and you can't make anyone objectively more powerful than anyone else. Like, because if you do, it's like, well, why would anyone want to play as Harley Quinn then, unless they're just a big Harley Quinn fan? And will they be playing the game for 5 minutes and being like, okay, well, why am I playing as the person who sucks?
Do you think this is going to be an Avengers scenario where you have like King Shark, who's supposed to take the Hulk role, but he doesn't really do any more damage, and Harley Quinn's like Black Widow?
Maybe, yeah. I think there's a strong possibility of that happening. I think honestly, Avengers might be the canary in the coal mine that makes Rocksteady and WB kind of turn tack a little bit on these games and what their plans for them are. Because I really think that they saw games like Destiny and The Division when they would have started developing these games 3 years ago and said, oh, let's do that. But instead of having Tom Clancy or random new IP about space wizards, I actually didn't even mean to necessarily say that. I was talking about Destiny, not Star Wars. Light, though, is kind of similar to the Force in a lot of ways. Space wizard, warrior, shooter guys, soldiers.
Space warlocks, yeah.
Yeah. Space warlocks, space hunters, and space titans. But if you have like those IPs, then what if we did that, but with the Avengers? What if we did that, but with the Suicide Squad? What if we did that, but with Nightwing and Batgirl and Robin and Red Hood? And in the board meeting, it probably sounded awesome. But now that we're 3 years down the line, it's like, like, are all these games going to be shit?
I really hope not. I want, especially from Rocksteady, because I mean, I'm assuming this one's in the Arkham universe, right?
I don't know. I mean, I would be surprised if it was, considering like the way all the characters look and the tone. Like, I mean,
it's very tonally different.
It might be, but it might just be like, no. Like, we made our Arkham games. Now we're making our Suicide Squad games.
God damn it! Give me a cohesive. I like their universe.
Well, I think that DC is sort of realized that they're in a bit of a safer position if they do say, "Oh, this actually isn't connected to this stuff here," like, because they could be like, "Yeah, we can do just like batshit horribly written stuff on the CW and like try to make the DCU work, and if it doesn't work, we can make like good movies like The Joker, or presumably like let's hope that the new Batman movie, the Matt Reeves one, will end up being good." And not have to worry about that. Like, I mean, I honestly do think that if the Snyder Cut comes out and is good, I will be happy if that happens. I wish it the best.
Yeah, same.
I don't think that movies like Wonder Woman 1984 look like they're in very good shape. I think Wonder Woman might have been the lightning in the bottle on that character by the look of it, or at least that creative team.
Yeah. Well, isn't it still Patty Jenkins or no for the new one?
No, it is. It just it does not look very good, at least from what I saw.
Well, Cheetah just looks awful.
Well, yeah, Cheetah and like the weird wingsuit that Wonder Woman has.
Yeah, what the hell's the deal with that? The golden armor.
Like, I mean, the core premise of like, why is Steve Trevor back? Like, why?
Well, how did they explain that?
I have no idea. Like, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna find a way, but like,
it's a comic book thing. I mean, that's definitely a comic book thing to do. Like, oh, they're dead, but just not really.
Like, I mean, like, what's really crazy though is you had the first Wonder Woman. People are like, oh man, this is a period piece about a superhero from a shared universe, which ends with a dude named Steve dying in a plane crash. And then he comes back in the future in the next movie, and like the same thing's happening in Wonder Woman.
Do you think he's going to go out in a plane crash again?
Well, I mean, like, it's the same thing that happened in Captain America, right? Like,
that's true. Very true. He is Captain America, yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, I mean, it's the same kind of premise. It's just the superpowered one is the girl, not the guy named Steve. Like, and it's like bringing him back in like a different time period. It's like, okay, now you're gonna have Steve Trevor be a fish out of water in the 80s and like making jokes about the turn of the century, like World War I era.
It's gonna be Captain Marvel.
Yeah, it does. Like, to me, I don't have high hopes for it. I don't know how another Aquaman movie is gonna fare necessarily.
I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I'm not a fan. I just don't like Jason Momoa that much.
I think that I actually do like Jason Momoa.
You want to know? So this is a petty thing.
Overrated.
Mine's I like New 52 Aquaman. They made him kind of cool, and his powers made sense. But Jason Momoa, I'm not a big fan of. And again, this is kind of petty, but it pissed me off because it kind of keyed me into his personality. But it was a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Harley gave out all these motorcycles, brand new, like they're brand new models, every single from their entire line, to all these celebrities instead of like moto vloggers and people in the Harley community, because I ride motorcycles, but they went with the very corporate way to do it, which is weird for Harley. And they gave one to Jason Momoa, and he's like, oh, this is cool, but I kind of hate red. So he takes out a fucking black spray can and just spray paints this like super nice bike. And it's like, dude, somebody would have killed for that. And you just do that. I don't know. It just, for me, it really rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, what a douche. But maybe he's cool. I don't know. But ever since then, I'm kind of just like, fuck this guy. Whatever.
It was really funny too. Is he probably could have pretty easily said to Harley, "Hey, can you just refinish this?"
Yeah, can you just give me a black one? Like whatever. I mean, it's definitely his personality, and that's who he is. Then whatever. But it's just not for me. It really bugged me.
That's pretty funny. Like he always seems to me to be like a pretty
chill guy.
Yeah, like mild mannered dude who's like he always seems to be smiling in every like interview I see of him. So I've always thought that it seems like he's got a pretty good personality. But as a person who like is a motorcycle enthusiast, I could see why that would rub you the wrong way.
Yeah, I try to like put that aside because again, yeah, with all the interviews and like the way that he talks about people, I'm like, he seems like a pretty cool guy. But it's just that one thing. It's stuck with me. Gonzalo with the super chat. Mando, is your Fuda character going to be a redhead? Please say yes. So in case you didn't know, this is a Cyberpunk related question.
I know what a Fuda character is.
Yeah, well, my plan is that it's going to be a female corpo. We're going Fuda corpo. That was the idea, and it has been a meme of the channel ever since. So definitely going corpo, and I guess this is kind of a good a segue into Cyberpunk. So Gonzalo, yeah, that's definitely the plan still. So we're going to take a look at some of the videos from the most recent event that they had. Most recent, I guess it was a podcast, a stream, whatever they did.
Yeah, no, it's a stream. They do it roughly once a month, and in the lead up to release. And every single one of them I've made the same day. I write, capture, and edit a video like recap. And this one I was up until like about 2:30 in the morning working on last night. But yeah, I think it worked out okay though.
I don't know how you write like that. I used to write all of my videos, and recently I just started like going off the cuff with things, and it's definitely like helped me speak better in terms of like formulating my thoughts on the fly. Because I used to just write out, everything, and there were 20-minute videos, but now I'm talking for like roughly 15 to 18 minutes, and it's relatively okay. My channel's still growing, so I think, doing something.
I think my channel would probably have a better chance at growing if I was able to do that. I'm just not particularly good at it. The only video I have like that is like speaking of Bloodstained, I was talking about my Curse of the Moon video that kind of got me my Geeks and Gamers job. I did an impressions video of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, and that one I just kind of spoke off the cuff for, but ended up spending a hell of a lot of time editing it. And realized that the only difference between that and one of my other videos is that I stuttered more and said like a lot more. Whereas if I actually script out my videos and take the time to record it, I'm like, okay, there's zero fat in this script now. I'm not going off on tangents that aren't for the specific purpose of explaining something, contextualize something, or a joke. It's just I would go off in my own little thing for a little bit, then have to wrap back around to my topic. And I mean, even now we're trying to talk about Cyberpunk, and I'm talking about writing scripts.
Well, it's hard when you do reviews. I mean, something like that kind of is more focused. Whereas like for what like I do and Jeremy and Ryan do, it's more commentary, so you can kind of tangent a little more.
Lethal Lightning, though, who also works for Geeks and Gamers, when he reviews the game, he does just sort of talk off the top of his head and edit some gameplay footage to it, and they usually turn out pretty well. But I'm not very good at that. I mean, I think that podcasts are sort of my outlet to just sort of vamp about stuff and like talk long form, whereas I find that I tend to make, at least from my perspective, I make better content if I sit down. Like I've got two little dogs that, like, if you see me on Twitter or on Instagram, pictures of my little dogs all constantly, or even on the Gaming with Geeks podcast, they pop up. And I lie in bed, let my dogs kind of crawl around me, and just kind of tap a script away on my phone. Spend a couple hours doing that, and it's sort of therapeutic and nice. And then sit in front of my microphone just like this, read it off my phone, do a few takes on each line if I need to, and cut it together. And it usually it moves along better.
Pans out all right.
Yeah.
What's your Twitter handle, by the way?
It's at Cyborg Marc, because someone else took Marc the Cyborg, and I was pissed.
They got it like the second before you typed it in.
2 places I'm Cyborg Marc, or 3 actually now, 3. The 3 places in which I'm Cyborg Marc and not Marc the Cyborg is Twitter, battle.net. If I'm, I don't know, it's been a long time since I played like Overwatch or Diablo or anything like that. But if I'm playing or Destiny, I guess was on battle.net also. So I'm Cyborg Marc number, I think 1626 over there. And Among Us has a character limit, so I can't be Marc the Cyborg over there either. Oh, and Nintendo. On Nintendo, I'm Cyborg Marc. But to add people on Nintendo, you need a friend code thing, because Nintendo is like 15 years behind the rest.
Yeah,
of the
they're really archaic with the way that they do their online.
Yep.
Odd. Gonzalo, is she going to be a redhead? Undecided. We're gonna have two characters, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna have two characters. One's gonna be a stream character. The other one's gonna be my character. So we can probably make the stream character together. That was the plan. Spoiler alert. Over at Twitch, by the way, if you guys aren't following me at Twitch yet, that's where all the streams are going to be. Podcasts are still going to be on YouTube. Streams are all going to be on Twitch. That way I can keep the VODs up. If you don't follow me over there, it is at Metal Gear Mando. I guess not at, just follow me or whatever it is. Follow on Twitch. I'm new to Twitch, new to the Twitch thoughtery. So it's at Metal Gear Mando. Do you have a Twitch, Mark?
I do. It's Marc The Cyborg, but I like never stream on Twitch. Mostly because streaming is sort of the only thing I do on my YouTube channel these days, like my personal one.
Oh,
so
right.
I sort of am like, I should stream there because if I start streaming on Twitch, then why is anyone subscribed to my YouTube channel? And I think if I dual stream, I'm just going to split the audience.
Dual stream sucks, dude. Yeah, that's the not the business for sure.
Funny about the redhead thing, though, there's sort of a running gag between X-Ray Girl and I where she doesn't like me playing as redheads in games because I was doing a review of the PC version of Horizon Zero Dawn. And then immediately after I finished that, I started doing Control. And then we started playing Metal Gear Solid together. So she's just like, why are you constantly playing with gingers?
Just getting assaulted by
gingers.
I don't
know. This is just a coincidence, really. I don't
We'll
gingers.
Get to talk about gingers in a minute. Well, actually, no, damn it, we won't, because that's actually, I was thinking Baldur's Gate, but I was playing Dragon Age Origins because I've never played Dragon Age. I'm a huge Mass Effect fan.
I was playing Dragon Age Origins today to capture footage for my Baldur's Gate video.
Oh, really? Yeah. Dude, I am learning that game was actually way harder than I was expecting. I put it on hard thinking I'd be all right. And I'm like, nope, this is more difficult. I just assaulted the tower. Like I took back the tower, very beginning of the game. We had to ignite the sigil thing or whatever.
I didn't even get to the first battle. I was really just doing it to compare the Baldur's Gate sort of shot, reverse shot dialogue, like the BioWare style, like Mass Effect or KOTOR dialogue camera to the Larian Studios' previous game, Divinity, that's all top down and like basically just trying to make the point that like, yeah, actually zooming the camera in and seeing the characters' faces straight on does connect you to them a lot. Like it does more than you'd think a camera angle should, but it really is pretty effective.
Yeah, absolutely. My whole tangent with that was I have a ginger elf. I have a very pale ginger elf for Dragon Age. And then Potato, Cyberpunk has nudity. You'll get in trouble for playing. So there's a couple things with Twitch, I guess, with nudity. If it's in a game and it's brief and you don't like call attention to like, oh, look, it's boobs or oh, look, it's a giant peen or something, then you're fine. But I think there's also going to be a stream option for that game. So we should be good. But
I have some clips of Witcher 3 on my old channel that's just my real name, which I guess I don't mind if you know. So it's Marc Boggio, Boggio. That's all one word. And I have got some clips of Witcher 3 that have nudity in them that I've never been asked to take down or anything. I guess technically that channel's not monetized, even though they're like connected to the same AdSense account. So maybe that has something to do with it. But It's a Gundam, who's a YouTuber, used one of my Witcher 3 clips in a video where he was talking about, he overlaid it to Carolyn Pettit from Feminist Frequency.
Nice. Talking
about this brutal sequence in which these female bodies are being butchered in The Witcher 3 and they're just like pinned all over the walls and it's glorified and Geralt doesn't care.
Well, that was that weird serial killer guy.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I messaged Gundam because like he and I were talking, especially around the time I first got my channel going. And I was like, hey man, like I actually just recently put a video of that exact quest up on my channel. And it's like, it's not that at all. Like Geralt actually is really disgusted by the hanging naked women bodies in that guy's house. And
you can kill him.
Oh yeah. Then that's the thing. And then Geralt beats the living shit out of him. So I'm like, I don't like, this person is flat out misrepresenting this quest like entirely. And then Gundam has in his video a clip of me playing The Witcher,
nice,
overlaid with Carolyn Pettit's voice talking about it. And he didn't tell me about it. So I just saw his video and was like, oh shit.
Dude, I fucking love him.
That's
He's so funny.
With my like dumbass looking, I've got these like oven mitt looking.
Oh, that's the best.
Iron gauntlets on that don't match my armor at all. And I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely my playthrough.
That's awesome. Yeah, Gundam's content's amazing. Ladies
Speaking
and
of CD Projekt Red, we should talk about Cyberpunk.
yeah, so I don't know if this audio is going to come through, so I apologize in advance. It should come through, but if it doesn't, let me know. I guess we'll test it right here. We'll see if this works. So this first one that we're looking at is the Rides of the Dark Future. So it's all about the vehicles in Cyberpunk 2077. And I don't know if we want to like pause to talk about these vehicles or if we just want to watch it through. It's 3 minutes. We probably pause in a little bit. We'll stop and talk about some vehicle classes. Let's see if the audio comes through here. Is everyone hearing that or no?
I believe, if I recall, the classes are economy, executive, heavy duty. Oh, I'm going to miss the next. I think it's sports, then hypercar. The first one will be economy, though.
Let's see if you're right. That'd be an insane memory.
See how hard well, I was editing a video on this last night.
True. Yeah, I don't think the audio is coming through, and I don't know why.
No, I'm not hearing it either.
The main thing is what we're looking at.
When you do screen share, you have to click a button that says share audio.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, that could be it. Or it's muted in the YouTube window that you're sharing. Like the speaker button.
It is on right now.
Oh no, it looks like your volume is pretty low there though.
Here, let's see if we turn it up.
Volume's low. Yeah. No, okay. So just stop sharing the screen, reshare the screen, and make sure before you click it, hit the share audio button.
Let's see here. Yeah, some have share audio, share screen, screen one, share audio, share. Let's see if it comes up now.
There you go.
We got something?
Yeah.
Huge
all right.
Open world like Night City. You need a chill.
The streets look amazing, by the way, especially at night.
Yeah.
I'm super down with the city lights.
2077, there are tons of cool vehicles to choose from.
I've just got my new graphics card.
What'd you get?
I'm ridiculous. I got an RTX 3090.
Oh, nice. That shot right there. That whole look, I'm all about it. This whole thing, even though it's blurred to shit right now, that is quintessentially Cyberpunk, and I love it. The motorcycles, I'm super stoked about because they did that Keanu Reeves thing where they have his motorcycles in it.
Yeah, and in my video, I was kind of covering that. I was saying this might be an important part of the why Keanu Reeves is in this game puzzle.
Well, you know what he said in that interview? He's like, I thought that was a grand idea. I'm like, this guy, he did it to get his bike in the game.
Realistically, it's like, even if he did, it's like, okay, cool. It's still a cool project. If they're going to put bikes in the game anyways, and he owns a custom bike company that's willing to make kind of an Akira looking one, then I call no foul on that.
I'm all for it. And the bike, it sounds like when they did the sound test video, like it sounds like they can really tweak that up to be neo-futuristic.
Yeah, in Canada we have the graduated licenses for motorcycles, an M1 that's just a written test, an M2 that's your sort of first road test that you take at the end of a course, and then your M, just the flat out letter M. And the M2 lasts for 5 years until you have to take the M test. I had my M2 for 3 years and then lost my right leg. So I had to let my M2 lapse and never got my full motorcycle license. But I'm also kind of scared to ride one because I'm like, well, I could rent a dirt bike and then see if because it's just the rear brake, right? Like I don't think it would really matter that much because I can still press it with my prosthetic. But I'm like, I won't have as much control with it though. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to one of my friends who has a bike and be like, hey, can I borrow your bike and take it around the block to see if it's wrong? It's like, well, if I'm wrong, or if the answer to that's no, then I just I owe my friend 10 grand.
Yeah, that's your shifter and your rear. Oh no, no. I got it opposite. The shifter's on your left.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here thinking I'm playing drums with my legs right now, so I'm going right left. I'm like, it's your right leg. Yeah, right's your rear brake, left would be your shifter. Yeah, you're not really missing too much.
Yeah,
except I don't know the experience of using a prosthetic with it.
It's a little weird. Like I had to get used to using the gas pedal in a car with it, but I can do that now. But because if there's any learning curve at all, I don't want to be doing it on a bike that I don't own, and I also don't want to buy a bike to then ruin it the first time I take it out and find that I need to then return it for like half of the sticker price.
Just get like a little beater, like a $300 like shit bike on Craigslist.
Maybe, yeah,
Like a little pocket bike.
That might be the move, but it's like at a certain point, it's like, well, I mean, do I need to ride a bike at this point? I think I'm old enough that I can probably just be like, no, I'll ride bikes in video games. I do miss riding motorcycles though; it was fun.
So you can have it in Cyberpunk 2077 on Keanu Reeves' motorcycle.
Indeed, and I think I will do my best to find the ARC motorcycle that looks like Canada's bike.
Amazing.
It's beautiful.
On the chassis,
That big fat ass rear tire.
Dude.
you can expect everyone not only to look unique, but to deliver a unique driving experience.
I love that.
All right, show me what you got.
Best car
Don't
class,
expect
boys.
advanced tech, luxurious materials here. Nuh-uh.
Just
This
don't try to pick up a girl if you're in a Maki guy.
This thing is amazing. I wonder how that's going to affect your, because you have that like cred system.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you like lose cred for driving around in one of these.
I guess if anyone sees you. I mean, I think if you steal one and use it in the middle of a gunfight, you should be fine. But if you pull up to a social function or what's the bar? The Afterlife. The mercenary bar.
Dude, they would know that that's the car of death. You do not mess with that person. It's the little car of death. There's a lot of guns in the trunk there.
This class is
Just runs over somebody.
Vehicles and low-end clunkers made for every pocket.
Hold on.
The Archer actually looks pretty nice.
I didn't know you could steal cars.
Yeah.
Like straight up GTA it.
They mentioned that in one of the other Night City Wires. I forget which one, but
Oh, really?
yeah, I could actually find it silently by pawing through my scripts.
I wonder if so do you, maybe you know then, in terms of the open world, are you able to call vehicles in then, or do you have to steal one?
Apparently you can call them in. Actually I forgot to put that in the video. So the vehicle designer guy says it'll function very similarly to how Roach did in Witcher 3.
Oh, okay.
And, when he's talking about that, he actually cuts to a screen cap of Roach on a roof.
Oh, nice. The classic.
That's what I realized. I forgot to mention that he gloriously brings up that meme in my video. And now, see, this is a problem with doing a same day video. you don't redraft enough to be like, oh crap, I forgot that joke.
No, you just got to get it out. It's all about the timing. Yeah, these I'm all for this economy class. I think if you go with when we watch the Styles video, I think what is it called? Was it not? It's not Neo Posh. Was it? What was it?
Kitsch is the last one, the one that's kind of a mix of tourism and kitsch.
Yes, kitsch. That's what it was. I think that mixed with this vehicle is 100%. That's the move for sure.
Walk out in a fur coat with like a chrome prosthetic, and
that's where all your money went. So you have to drive around this shitty car.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of money to chrome out your whole skin. Can you do that, or is that probably you probably can't do that?
I don't know. They actually didn't talk too much about car customization. They definitely said that different models of cars will appear differently depending on where you find them. Like if you find one car in Night City in the downtown rich area, but find the same model of car out in the Badlands, they'll have different modifications which appear different and actually will handle differently as well. But they, in this video that they had on the cars, they talked a lot about the different classes of cars and a lot about things like the lengths they went through for the sound design, but they didn't talk at all about car customization, which makes me think that perhaps the car customization isn't going to be as in depth as what you can do to your character's body. I think that would be a ripe opportunity for them to do something in DLC.
Yeah,
like have, even a free update, be like, oh yeah, you can customize your cars now. But them not talking about it yet is making me think that it's probably not going to be in the game. So I wouldn't be shocked. And that's actually kind of goes against them. When they first announced that this was going to be the Night City Wire about the cars, my tweet was, my car is going to have the biggest dong. And, I found that to be like a pretty funny joke, but it turns out that maybe you might not be able to give your car a dong at all.
That's really unfortunate. I was thinking Mr. Stud just right on the roof.
Yeah, I mean, maybe paint jobs, but I don't know if you'll be able to do things like add parts to it and all sorts of crazy cybernetic things.
Damn it. Well, hopefully. Well, here's the hoping, because I mean, especially with those richer cars, you should be able to like do some custom shit to those.
Yeah, and I'm going to be very clear. I don't know that for sure. I've not played the game. It's just it's me reading the room for them not spending 10 minutes at this Night City Wire on here's all the crazy things you can do to your car, because that seems like it would be the thing to mention in the car episode.
Well, I'm glad they did talk about like handling, but I'm nervous to see how that's going to be on keyboard, because I've always found driving on keyboard sucks.
Oh, dude, the move is you have an Xbox One controller plugged into your computer above your keyboard, and when you get into the car, the animation of your character getting in the car is the time you have to switch to your controller.
The true immersive experience.
I'm not joking. That is what I do almost every single time I drive a vehicle in a game.
That's
only
a good idea.
time I don't do it is in Call of Duty Warzone, because the transition time between being on foot and being in a car is so short.
Yeah.
And the map's so wide open that you never really have to be doing any precision driving or like hand braking or anything like that. It's just, okay, let's get to the military base and then get out and start looting. But yeah, no, like every time I'm playing like a Far Cry game or something, like when I get into the car, it's like the time it takes for my character to open the car door and get in the car, I'm moving from mouse keyboard to my controller.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start doing that. Anytime I play, I usually just bear with it. But
most games too will switch even like the on-screen input like indications, like if it says like press X to exit car, X to enter car, they'll switch those automatically the second you touch your controller.
yeah, I've noticed that, where it'll think now you're using the gamepad instead.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that. That's gonna be Cyberpunk 2077. That's what we're gonna do.
It's a wreck.
My damn wreck.
Well, definitely no guy or girl magnet.
These are badass.
If you need to
Yeah,
impress
the executives.
this class alone,
I like how you got like the Cholo mobiles.
I think this is the one that my boy Matthias in the chat was saying that he wants to ride.
Oh yeah, hypercar. Yeah, hypercar.
wheels, no expense has
Oh no,
been
the hypercar is the other
spared,
one.
no
He said hypercar and
frills.
executives.
Their plush interiors decked out in all the latest tech. While
No, yeah, hypercars and executives are the ones that I think he was saying he likes. The
This-
hypercars, I have a feeling the hypercars are going to be ones that you can only steal. That's
Well, I would not doubt it. Like that's gonna be in the super rich area or the corpo area. These I'm excited for.
yeah.
I want some tanky beefy shit. This looks good, especially this. I'm digging this.
Recreate some Terminator chase scenes.
Yeah, exactly. Anything I can crash through something with, I'm totally down for. Normally, I would go the muscle car route, which is why I was so stoked on Batman's new Batmobile in the new movie.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, really muscle car vibes. So these tanky trucks and the muscle cars is what I'm waiting for. What are you thinking for yours?
I think I'm going to go sport, like the Mad Max style sport one.
There you go.
Mad Max style, like small muscle car. That's kind of my jam. Right
You'll
there.
make Lethal Lightning very happy.
Yeah.
His home.
Oh, it's funny, actually, every time I refer to the second Mad Max film as the Road Warrior, he gets pissed at me. So-
Why?
Because in Australia, it's called Mad Max 2.
Oh,
It was
I
just
did not know that.
North America, I think it was the Road Warrior, because Mad Max wasn't like a huge movie in North America. So
Yeah.
I think they figured, okay, Road Warrior is really good, and it is. Like, anyone in the chat, if you haven't seen the Road Warrior, watch that movie. It's Mel Gibson in a Mad Max film, and it's incredible. It's really like, and it really holds up too. And I think that just they figured if they called it Mad Max 2, people would be like, well, I haven't seen the first one, so I'm not going to go see this one. Whereas if you call it the Road Warrior, people think it's just a new thing.
Yeah, they hear Road Warrior and they're like, that sounds badass.
And yeah, it's actually often when people go back to the first Mad Max movie, that's the one that will often hit people weird, because it's sort of just as the apocalypse is happening, or like just happened, so everything's pretty much normal. It was made on a pretty low budget, so I think they didn't do a whole lot of set design or anything. It was just kind of shot in Australia. And Road Warriors, where it's like, okay, this is the Mad Max aesthetic that you think of when you think of that series, where it's like desert wasteland.
Yeah, that's what that reminds me. Like when I see what is it? It's not the Badlands in this. What's it called? Or the outskirts or whatever it is.
It's called the Badlands.
Oh, it is the Badlands. Okay, so that's really the vibes that I get, which is why I was thinking of doing that outsider role. But then I don't know. I'm really leaning towards corpo Corpo really appeals to
I
me.
think I'm going Nomad first because most of the other people on Geeks and Gamers seem to be leaning towards Corpo or Street Kid, and I think also because like I really like those kind of Mad Max vehicles. Like Nomad seems like it's going to be a good fit for me on a first playthrough. But my concept that I want everyone to do, including X-Ray Girl, even Metal Gear Mando, if you want to do it too, is I want to give people one mission to like capture all their footage of and send it to me. And then I want to be able to like edit how differently that mission played out for everybody.
Oh, nice.
And, maybe just see if like, okay, if everyone ended up making all the same choices, then it's like, oh, okay, so maybe the flexibility is more of an illusion than anything else. But I think it might end up being really cool if everyone has like a very different experience through the mission that they do. Like it's like, oh man, I got in a crazy high-speed car chase here, and you just talk to people through the car mission, and that's it. You hacked one door and that was it. Like,
yeah, I'm hella down for that. That sounds awesome. That's usually the way I try to do my playthroughs. Is I try to I put a lot of my skill points in most RPGs that I play in. I don't know whatever the skill is that lets you appeal to people more.
Yeah, charisma or any kind of persuasion stuff.
Yep. Yeah. Usually I play I'll play a good guy normally, so it's usually like Paragon points or whatever. But anything that will give me extra dialogue options, I want to do, because if I can avoid like a conflict by using intellect, that I'm super down for that. I find that really appealing. That's
sort of why, like, I've never once in my life played Dungeons and Dragons like for real, like with people on a board with an actual like D20 and everything like that. But playing actually Baldur's Gate 3 just now, like the early access that I just got through, and I actually just recorded my video on it today. I realized the thing with Dungeons and Dragons, it's that dice roll. It's the like when you are given that dialogue options, like, okay, persuade this person to do this, and you know that if your skill check is 7 and you're rolling a d20 and you have to get a number above 7, it's that dice roll and being like, oh, am I gonna get it?
Yep.
That it's like D&D players, they're just gamblers who don't use money. I'm telling you.
Exactly.
I figured it out. I was like, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah. I find the people that get frustrated with that, people that normally don't play RPGs, or especially pen and paper, because it really is random. Like, you feel like I can understand. Like, one of my friends was saying that this game is cheating. It's like it's giving me shitty rolls. I'm like, no, dude, it's literally like you were rolling a dice right now. Well, like, this is just how it is.
That's how skill progression has to factor into it, and what makes like the CRPGs and like even any RPGs that even like the Bethesda ones like Fallout and stuff, like when they do those skill checks, the thing that makes them kind of interesting is how you develop your character, and doing things like dumping skill points into charisma or persuasion or whatever it's going to be, that you're doing that to increase your odds of successfully getting through those skill checks. Whereas if you don't put it, you're like, oh, charisma, no, screw that. Like everything into strength. I want to be able to hit as hard as possible. Then, well, okay. Then when you try to sweet talk your way past a door, you're probably going to fail because you need to roll an 18 and like you have a 20-sided die, right?
Yeah. You're playing a big dummy. Like you're not going to worm your way past somebody.
Yeah, you might get lucky, but like, I think though that actually Neo Whip saying a great way to simulate dice rolling RPG is having an enemy response be randomized to an extent. I think the new Baldur's Gate kind of nailed it by having that like on screen. They have like an on screen D20 that animates and shows you the roll. And the trick is you can stop it by clicking the dice in the middle of the roll, and it will stop on the currently displayed number. So you think that you kind of get it fast enough to just stop it on the one that you're going to want. But it really, I don't think that unless you're like Rain Man and can like count the cards, so to speak, you're not going to actually give yourself a better chance. It's still 1 in 20 either way for like the number that you want to land on. But I know, I think that they did a really good job of making that engaging. And to tie this back into Cyberpunk, there's going to be a lot of skill checking in this game. I don't think they're going to do the like on-screen dice roll.
It's all behind the scenes.
Well, because especially I think the market they're targeting this for, they want to hook in the Dungeons and Dragons people, sure, but they more specifically want to get the people who would never play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, and that's what I love about this, because I'm a big fan of tabletop RPGs. I mean, I used to run a comic and game store, so you know, I really liked, I was especially into the Star Wars tabletop games. I never played the Cyberpunk tabletop, but I think it's really cool when you get a company, especially a company like CD Projekt Red, who really cares about the source material that they're working with. I mean, it's pretty evident with The Witcher, and it's very evident with Cyberpunk how they respect the world, the lore, the creator, and it can bring a ton of new, like, this game is going to flood interest in the Cyberpunk universe.
Yeah.
And I hope that benefits, you know, like game shops and stuff like that, because to get more people in to play tabletop RPGs, I think it's a really fun experience. And I think that's something that we're sorely I mean, with COVID, I mean, you can't really meet up right now, but in most places.
I mean, there's a lot of people are doing like online tabletop playing. I don't know exactly how that works, but I see things like, I mean, like Regs and Short Fat Otaku and a couple of those guys play, and they doing like a vampires game for a while that they stream on like one of their channels. But anyways, like, I mean, there is ways to do full on tabletop gaming over the internet, like in the age of COVID. And I do agree with you that I think that if Cyberpunk takes off, especially with the flood of people that started picking up tabletop gaming with like Stranger Things, making D&D kind of like niche cool in a weird way. I have a feeling that it could really end up blowing up the Cyberpunk world. But I think people will be buying the rule books just to read about the lore.
Yeah, which would be really awesome. I think I just really like seeing people get involved in that, you know, in a positive way. I have to be careful with when I say that, because when I say that, then we have the argument of people talking about new Star Wars fans and changing. So what I'm saying is, you know, people that are interested in the world as it exists and want to learn more about it. I think that's really cool.
So the effect of having the like your hobby get flooded with the quote, not actually talking about a specific person, but like the quote fake gamer girl. It's like, oh yeah, it's like I play Call of Duty too. I've been playing Call of Duty for 6 weeks. It's like, oh
cool.
But yeah,
I play Call of Duty Mobile.
Exactly. It's like if you're hanging in the crowd of Call of Duty people, you can't just expect them to accept you as one of their own if they've been like playing Call of Duty 40 hours a week since Modern Warfare came out.
This is somewhat related. Well, it's related to this, not Cyberpunk, but Baldur's Gate is in that Kotaku article. They say that if you don't count, if you're like sexist if you don't count the girls that play Candy Crush on their phone as gamers, and it's like, oh my god.
It's like, okay. Well, I mean, they are, but if you're probably not going to see those Candy Crush girls buying Baldur's Gate early access.
No, absolutely not. Or Cyberpunk.
But like, I mean, honestly, if they want to, they're welcome to. Cool. Like, yeah, no, do it. Like, we encourage you to. We do want people to get into our hobby. Just don't act like you run it all of a sudden when you've been there for like a couple days and you don't really understand what you're talking about. It's why even in like the Squadrons review I made very clear to be like, look, space sims, like space flight sim games are not really something I'm an expert in. So like, I wanted to make that very clear at a couple points in the video. So I'm like, look, if you've spent 3,000 hours in Elite Dangerous and I'm getting everything about like shield and power management wrong, and I don't understand why this game actually sucks, I'm going to defer to you on that, because like you probably know better than me. But I think the trick about the fake, well, let's not even say fake gamer girl, because that brings an element of sexism in, but the fake gamer person that decides to like
gamer individual.
Yeah, that decides to say, oh yeah, no, I know everything there is to know about Castlevania or whatever it would be, but then like you find out they've just seen the Netflix anime and that's it. And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, you're interested in it and that's cool, but it's when you pretend to be an expert on something that people will, I mean, to bring it back to like dice roll gaming, they'll skill check you and they'll be like, okay, well, I mean, have you played this one, or do you even know what this one is? And if at that point you say like, stop gatekeeping and run away,
exactly.
Like, well, I mean, they're doing that because they probably are in a lot of situations where people are picking up a fad and want to seem cool by acting like they know a whole bunch about a thing, but all they did was read half a Wikipedia article.
Yeah,
and
that's what really ruined. And what makes it worse is when they expect to be catered to. And it's like, this wasn't, you can't go into something and then, you know, be welcomed in and then be like, no, we need to change this now because it's not what I wanted. I like these aspects, but this needs to change.
I'm a big fan of this thing. Now change all the things about that thing and make it cater to me personally. It's like, well, I mean, that's not really how that works.
Yeah, look how that's doing for Star Trek. Doing great.
Yeah, God, I haven't watched like almost anything from new Star Trek. I think seeing like Gary and like Doomcock's coverage of it hasn't been enough for me. I'm just like, okay, I love Captain Picard. I love The Next Generation.
Don't watch it. You'll be miserable.
the last thing I saw that I enjoyed from Star Trek truly was, and even then, I think this is something that even now people poke a bunch of holes in, but that was Star Trek First Contact. I haven't seen it in a number of years, but I remember really liking it when it came out. I was probably like 11, but like I was sort of done at that point, and then I saw Insurrection after that and was like, I didn't like that one. And then I saw Nemesis and I'm like, I'm out.
I'm done with this.
And like the J.J. Abrams, the first movie was like kind of fun, even though it seemed more like a Star Wars movie. Funny enough, J.J. Abrams ended up doing Star Wars, and after Into Darkness, I'm just like, eh.
Like, it was a Trek Wars for sure.
Yes. Anyways, we should get back to Cyberpunk.
And RPG late, but better late than never, my friend. Glad to have you here. Hail Doomcock. Also, hail Doomcock.
It's hail Doomcock indeed. I've still not been on a stream with Doomcock. He's one of the ones that I'm like, maybe someday.
That would be awesome. That's the thing with trying to get on to other people's stuff, and that's why I'm trying to branch out and like get people here or like talk to more people. I find that most people that I follow on Twitter or that follow me on Twitter are nice people, and I like to get to know them. It's nice. All right, let's.
Definitely a good thing to have more conversations with more people.
Yeah, unlike I can be a hermit in real life, but we'll branch out online socially.
Indeed.
Engineering and practical design, trucks and tanks for when you need power and brute force.
Hell of a machine.
Meat beast, my pride and joy.
And
like that
these
little
monsters
rabbit on the
are
front of it.
literally unstoppable. These are for chooms who love the smell of exhaust and
There we go.
This is where it's at.
They're powerful.
That's my car right there. Roughly, at least.
Come on! I want to smell that choo-choo burn!
Dude, that's so cool.
Whether it's street racing, running from the NCP,
Yeah, the Nomad like rally muscle cars. That's what I'm into.
high-powered beasts, you will have
The
only
interiors are
respect.
really, really interesting looking.
Oh yeah!
I like the steering wheels.
Yeah,
Kind of reminds me of like a
1980s arcade game. Like
what was it, like a Mad Catz controller?
Yeah.
That's exactly what that reminds me of. And I like how this dial is just like an AC. That's exactly what that looks like. And also, it wasn't in this. The Styles video, they have that timeline on the bottom, which I thought was pretty cool. Did you notice that?
No.
Yeah, we're almost done with this one.
There,
Yeah.
You will have only respect.
Oh yeah! I like that!
If you need speed and armor, the
Is this
hypercar
a Bugatti Veyron? That's exactly what this looks like.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think any of them are licensed except for the Porsche and the Arch motorcycles, or at least that they've mentioned so far. But I wouldn't know enough about that specific vehicle in order to tell you.
Yeah, if you Google it at some point, Bugatti Veyron, that as soon as I saw this, I'm like, yeah, that has to be modeled off of that. And this kind of looks like even though it's not a sport, I know a Camaro's a muscle car, but this front end reminds me of the new Camaros.
If you need speed and armor, the
Yeah, it's pretty close.
It means precise body
It's not exactly. The Veyron's more of a
materials.
an oval with a flat bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
Less of a
I
triangle.
don't think less than 1,000 people in the world can afford the Erendite.
Not your typical urban vehicle.
They will take you places you never dreamed you'd go. Oh, and original vehicles are not all you'll find in 2077.
I thought this
We
was a
also
cool touch.
found room on our roster
Mhm.
with some true automotive icons.
Floor it, V.
That's why there's a comment on my video that's like, oh yeah, like we get a game that said 100 years in the future and we get a car from 1977. No future cars at all. And I'm just like, dude,
What?
I was like, dude, that was one car at the end of the trailer.
Were they joking?
I don't know. I didn't respond to that comment because I was like, I do often read the comments on my Geeks and Gamers videos, which sometimes can kill like an afternoon. So I try to not do it that much.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of trying to break the habit of doing my best to respond to everybody. But I still try to respond to most of them, just so, like, because at a certain point, you don't want to become like like the Ryan Johnson type, where it's like, oh, all these people that don't like my video are just haters. Like I do my best to like actually try to engage and like see if I can find some relevant criticism, or if not, find a way to like convince people why I made choices in my video that I did. But the funniest thing though I always find is like, well, why did you talk about this part of this thing? I'm like, well, I mean, I'm covering it. So
yeah, there's some people like that's with my comment section. Usually it's pretty positive, thanks to most of the people that are here in chat. But there's some comments where it's just like, this isn't criticism. This is nothing substantive. It's literally just an insult. Like somebody called me a racist and a sexist. I'm like, where are you getting that from? Anything that I've said? I'm very open about being not about racism or sexism, but just because you don't agree with something that I might have to say doesn't make me that. So those, it's kind of like, what's the point? Those people are really entrenched. Or like I said earlier, the comment about how Microsoft is literally Thanos trying to get rid of competition. It's like, no.
Yeah, it's like you might be a PlayStation fanboy if that's your.
That's why I was like, shit. Do I need to start making more videos? Because it's a gold mine of videos of people like losing their minds on both sides about these consoles.
Yeah, well, I mean it's kind of how guys like Rags got their start. Like he just did like PC Master Race videos, just kind of like dunking on crazy console fanboys. And if you're a console player in the chat, he's probably not talking about you. He's talking about guys like Crap Gamer or like JTech TV, like guys that full on make just fanboy videos. Like, if I was like a PC equivalent of that, I would be like, well, I mean, PC is obviously the best thing ever. There's never been a good console game. There's never been one good console game ever. Like, I mean, that it's just very disingenuous and like not true if you spent any time at all thinking about it. But people like that make videos for kids that own a PlayStation, don't own an Xbox, don't want to learn anything about an Xbox or a PC or a Nintendo Switch, and just want to be told that they're on the right team. And so there's a big market for making videos where you like respond to guys like that and just kind of dunk on them.
Because it's so easy. There's so like, okay, I'm not gonna say they're stupid, but the way that they present themselves is idiotic. Like,
yeah, well, and then, like, my theory is that they're not stupid. They just know that they can make money off gullible kids. Like, I think it's disingenuous more than stupid.
Which is really funny because you have people like Crap Gamer where Phil Spencer fucking hates his guts. Yeah, and he was still all about the Xbox, and now he's all PS5. It's like, dude, like 5 months ago you were all up on Microsoft's dick, and then people still watch. I'm like, how do you take this guy seriously? It doesn't make sense. You know who does really good videos on that is Griffin Gaming.
Yeah, I was about to say, actually, Griffin does like
hilarious.
Best guy for just like roasting console fanboys stuff.
Yeah, really funny. I don't think I'm that level of the roast, but Griffin.
When I say console fanboys, I don't mean he's a PC guy. Like, I think he is mostly a PC guy, but
he has both.
Yeah, he roasts PS5 people and Xbox people.
He bought 2 PlayStation 5s and the new Xbox, and he's got a PC. Well, he sold his PC now, so now he's back on consoles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he sold his gaming PC for the PlayStation 5s.
Oh, man.
But today, he just bought a 3090.
Oh, yeah, okay, so then he's building a new PC.
Probably. His post was thanks console fanboys for the ad revenue.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, monetize the haters.
Yeah, exactly. They all go over to his channel to be like, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, well, you clicked on his video, so
yeah, we'll take the money. You know, it's engagement. We'll take it. So to wrap up the vehicle video, you're going with the sports muscle car.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm going to pick the vehicle that's best for the situation. But I think if it's like I'm going to pick the vehicle that I'm going to be riding around in most of the time, I'm probably going to go with a Mad Max style, like chunky sport muscle car.
Yeah, I think I'll be in the same boat unless I got that little mini clown car.
Yeah,
I really want that thing. The thing seems really cool.
So the smart car is that's the true G move.
Did they say anything about like housing? Because I know you have an apartment.
Yeah,
have they talked about that?
The last trailer they showed, the CGI one, they kind of made an implication that you can like buy houses and things like that.
Was that the cafe?
Well, yeah, the cafe one where they's like, okay, so do you want to run Night City? Do you want to drive fast cars, own the biggest house? Or I think they said something to that effect. But again, they haven't really talked about those systems. I think they might still be holding off some of these details for future episodes of Night City Wire, or again, knowing CD Projekt, they're going to be supporting this game for at least a couple years, if not like several. Like,
Yeah.
So I think that anything that isn't in the launch game, it would not be unreasonable to say, hey, they might end up doing this in DLC. Again, I don't want that to make me sound like CD Projekt fanboyish to be like, oh yeah, well obviously they're going to put that in. Like, I know I'm not basing that on anything other than they probably could, because there'd be a market for it, and I think people would enjoy those features being implemented.
Absolutely.
But from what I'm aware of now, I don't think anything's been talked about like owning property other than having like your home-based style apartment.
I think they're starting to leave like little like breadcrumbs. They're pretty big on that.
I don't think you don't really own anything in Witcher until the Blood and Wine DLC when you get the vineyard.
Well,
and
that
then,
supports your theory. I mean, they put out massive DLC drops.
yeah. And like Blood and Wine wasn't free, but it was $20 for like a game-sized expansion.
Yeah.
Like one that added a whole system of like, oh, now you have a vineyard that you can like invest money into like upgrading parts of and do kind of like the Assassin's Creed 2 thing with it. And it's just a thing that we've tagged on to this already massive game that wasn't a system in the base game or the first expansion at all. So there's precedent for CD Projekt just like adding in crazy shit after launch.
And we already know that they're doing that multiplayer spinoff.
Yeah. And I don't think they've really specifically said if that's going to actually be a separate project or if it's like a separate game that's included in Cyberpunk. They haven't really been clear about that. I think it's safe to say right now that it would be better to look at that as a totally separate game. Like if they have Cyberpunk 2077, that's like the single player RPG, and then maybe Cyberpunk Online or something that's their live service MMO. And if they do monetize that in the way GTA 5 does, I think the best thing they could do is just make it free to play.
Yeah.
And have it so that you can maybe import some of the things that you got during your Cyberpunk 2077 playthrough. So it's kind of like just the multiplayer mode for Cyberpunk 2077. But I think that if they charge separately for the product, it would not go super well.
Do you think it's going to like go the same route as God, what is it? Robert Space Industries. What game were they working on? It's been in
the
Starfield? No.
Starfield. It was the Bethesda one.
That's right.
Shit.
Yeah, what's the name of that?
Yeah, no, Star Citizen.
Star Citizen, yeah, with their fucking weird single player. Here's your multiplayer, and then your other version of the game.
Here's Mark Hamill actually playing Luke Skywalker.
What?
You don't know Mark Hamill's in the single player for it? And
no.
The character he plays is like closer to Luke Skywalker than what was in Last Jedi.
Oh my god, that's embarrassing.
He's just a fighter pilot in it, like a space fighter pilot. But
perfect.
That's what a lot of people were saying of the stuff they saw from Star Citizens. I think it's like Squadron 76 or something like that. It's called.
Yes, for the multiplayer.
Yeah. Oh no, the single player is like Squadron. So
wait a minute. I thought that was the fucking multiplayer shooter one.
No, it's all one big like MMO type game, but Squadron 42. Squadron 42 is the single player campaign for Star Citizen. It was supposed to come out in mid 2019, planned before the end of quarter 2 2020.
Nope.
And now it's estimated at quarter 3 2020. Which,
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and call it and say it's gonna come out in 2077.
Squadron 42 roadmap. I'm actually on the official thing for it. Yeah, I got it. Chapter 2. Squadron 42 beta quarter 3 2020 is still on the official site. So.
There's no. They're pushing 2022 for sure. At least that game. It's never gonna come out. I'm over it. But they did that 10 years ago almost.
Yeah. I think it is like kind of a bit of a ruse at this point. Although there's people that have been playing Star Citizen for like years now.
Let me tell you, you can't say anything negative about it because then people just flip out. Like they get super aggressive about it.
Some of the players of that game have put like tens of thousands of dollars in it.
Which is absurd for ships, like spending actual human real life thousands of dollars on these in-game ships.
Yep, it's pretty insane.
It's kind of like Eve. I think Eve is kind of the same way.
Eve though has like it's a full game.
True,
Like,
it's an actual game. You're right.
it's a game that people enjoy playing. Like I think that you can make the argument to defend Eve much more easily. But here, if you check your Twitter, I'm sending you yet another photo.
Is it the roadmap?
No, it is Mark Hamill in Star Citizen.
Oh wow, he actually looks really good.
And he was in Chris Roberts' previous two, I guess, games, unless he made ones in between there. But Wing Commander 3 and Wing Commander 4, which I played the shit out of when I was a kid, and they were really good. In fact, they had like FMV, like choose your own adventure type things. Like it wasn't, I wouldn't call it RPG because it wasn't exactly skill checks. There wasn't like, you didn't have stats that you could upgrade. It would just be like you choose what your dialogue response is, usually between two things. And I remember the big battle at the end of Wing Commander 4 was Mark Hamill in a court arguing against Malcolm McDowell, who played like the villain in the game.
Nice.
And it was awesome because it's just if you pick the right responses, if you pick the wrong responses, it ends with Mark Hamill's character getting like taken away in handcuffs and executed. And if you pick the right ones, they like find out that Malcolm McDowell has basically been trying to pull an Emperor Palpatine and like taking over the entire Confederation. And he ends up getting arrested and executed at the end. So it was
that's awesome.
I'll always remember that. I probably played that when I was like 13. Like, and I'm 36 now. So it's like.
It sticks with you, and that's what's great about gaming moments like that.
Yeah.
This looks like his reaction to finding out about what happens to Luke Skywalker. The poor man.
Yeah. Wait.
I'm gonna do what?
Just try to murder my nephew. Say again.
Jesus, I hate that movie. All right, the next video that we're looking at is another short one. It's like 3 minutes. It's almost 4 minutes, but this is the styles of Cyberpunk 2077, and I actually really like this one. The music, I'm super feeling the music in this. Let's get it pulled up here.
X-Ray Girl is on record saying that her style is going to be neo kitsch.
Neo kitsch is, you know what? I like it a lot more than I thought. So I have some, display.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of displays in my set.
I really like them. Podcast not sponsored by Displate, but if somehow they hear that, yeah, do it.
I will absolutely take a sponsorship from Display.
Yes.
Display hear this.
Amazing.
They're also in Poland too, which is why they do a lot of collabs with CD Projekt.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I would love some more of that. I would love a Witcher one actually. I have the all the styles for the ones that they're going through because they did posters.
Oh, yeah. They did those a while ago too.
Well, yeah. Then I found out that on CD Projekt Red's store they have like premium like prints that are framed. I'm like, fuck, because those are super nice too.
Man, yeah, no, I've got the Cyberpunk one. I have is the Trauma Team.
Because I love that.
Like my job, like outside of YouTube, is I'm an army medic, and to be an army medic in Canada, you have to be a licensed paramedic. So I am literally a cyborg medic.
That's awesome. So you're a Trauma Team.
Yeah, so when I saw the Trauma Team displayed, I was like, oh, I don't even care if I end up hating the game. I think I need that poster.
Did you see the statue that they have on there?
Yeah, I've hinted to X-Ray Girl that I want that for Christmas.
She'll say, once we engage, this will be the engagement gift.
Yeah. Maybe.
This rating is also for the podcast, just for everybody to know. FYI.
Yeah.
Nudity included.
Intense nudity in this podcast.
Welcome to the brief authoritative history of Night City.
Yeah, the timeline will be on the bottom.
To so-called styles, deeply linked with the history of the world, and a very important aspect of life in the city. You can find them everywhere. In cars.
Okay, here, wait, go back up. So the one thing I noticed while I was playing, Nilfgaard. So
that's awesome.
The Empire in Witcher 3.
Nilfgaard.
Yeah, it's Nilfgaard spelled with like 2 A's like that. And there's a porno mag called Nilfgaard, and that blew my mind.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm digging that. Look at this guy's hands too. I hope we can customize this like colors and chrome out like a full arm.
I have a feeling that will be a thing that's happening, and someone made the point in I think actually in the comment section of my video, because basically at the end of it, it was like, what would you like to see on the next episode of Night City Wire? And someone said, oh, character customization. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? They've talked a lot about character customization, but they haven't really done like a deep dive in a video of it. And I do have a feeling that's coming.
Yeah, they had, what the hell? I don't know where it was, but they did it like this. Like this is really all we've gotten from them.
It's shown that, but I think that if they do a deep dive into things like those types of prosthetics that you can like add to your character and like which parts of your body you can make look more robotic, I think that'd be pretty neat for them to dive into.
Yeah, I really hope that we get. I wonder if they'll do like body sizes and stuff. Body sizes, obviously, I'm pretty sure tattoos will be a thing. Like, I wonder how weird we can get with this. Like, if we can go like Skyrim with it and just make really ugly people.
Yeah, have like full on sliders that you can make monstrosities with.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. And then
what was the big meme that someone made Joker and Galvatron and Bloodborne?
Who made Galvatron?
Yeah.
I have not seen that.
I'll try to find a picture of that because I guarantee it's online.
I've seen the Joker one, which is a nightmare, but I love that. Fucking Galvatron, what the hell? Most random thing to find in Bloodborne. Also, this voice tone thing. I know you can make like a trans character, right? But is that what that's referring to? That you can put male V's voice on female V's body?
I assume so, but I heard that there was like very, very in-depth genital customization.
Yeah, you have a dong slider and a boob slider.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think to the point that you can do things like have both a penis and a vagina on your character.
Oh, you can actually do hermaphrodite?
I don't know. I think that was implied in one of the talks they did on it, but
and here's so this is what I touched on in my first video. This game, again, I don't want to go off on a political tangent, but this game upsets people on both sides for like really the same reasons. You know, there was that whole controversy about the trans person being used in the advertisement. It's like, well, you're getting trans representation. You can make a trans character in the game. So you had people that were more conservative being like, I don't like this. And then you had people that were more liberal and they're like, this is using trans people. And it's like, what the fuck? Can anyone be pleased by this?
Like, I think actually Jeremy got torn apart on, I think it was like Southpaw's podcast or something, or it was one of the like kind of EFAP like podcasts where they were going over his video where he was basically talking about the trans representation, quote in Cyberpunk being like bending the knee to the left, and I'm like,
they're not.
Hey, man, yeah, no, like he was actually, we did like our podcast, like the Gaming with Geeks one that week, and I was like, dude, like it's Cyberpunk though, like body modification is kind of the point.
This is a world where that makes sense.
I know, like that's why I was like, I think like that's like the specifics are important. So if you're like, okay, you can have genital modification, or no, I think it was voice tone, like the voice tone feminine thing that you see there.
Yeah,
I think like Jeremy's thing was like, oh yeah, now it's not male body or female body, it's just like body type instead of man or woman.
Well, here's the thing.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure, but like I don't know, is that really that big a deal? Like I was just like, I'm not sure that matters, because if your intention is to make a hybrid male/female character by mixing and matching genitalia, or like putting, you know, making like a boobs on a person with a penis, like I think if you in a Cyberpunk game, if that's the character that you want to commit to playing as for like 30 hours or more, sure.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's up to you, and that's the thing. So there's multiple things that go into this. I'm a huge fan of science fiction, obviously, and Cyberpunk is probably, I would say, probably other than science fiction horror, but my favorite genre when it comes to science fiction. So one, in a role-playing game, I think it's really important to be able to make what you want, because that's what is representing you. That's how you role play. Yeah. So whether you're making yourself or not, that's why I like in Baldur's Gate that you have so many different options too. Any game where you any role-playing game where you're gonna have more options that is accurate to the world and to what you can expect in that world, I'm all for it. And in Cyberpunk, it's all about like body modification and like how far can you take things, or how far do you want to take things. So in a world where you can literally replace your whole skin with metal, yeah. It's like, yeah, you can have a cyber dong if you have a vagina or whatever. Like that doesn't really matter. It fits this, and it's also kind of, it plays into like the Cyberpunk's kind of like I don't want to say anti-establishment, but it is. But it's like it's not the norm It's about being different, about standing out, and especially with characters like this, like a bounty hunter or somebody who's on the more like the seedy underbelly side. Like this makes sense for the world that we're looking at and the genre that this is.
The breaking of taboos is kind of like
yes,
that would probably be a good way to put like I guess the cyberpunk philosophy. I guess that might be kind of a pompous.
Well, it's in the name. It's punk, right? It's against the established order or what's normal. You know what go with the flow is not a thing with cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm. I think that ultimately when like you kind of hit the nail on the head immediately with like in an RPG, the point is just that you should be able to like craft the experience to what you want it to be. And like, I mean, there's two types of RPGs as well. There's like two types that the CD Projekt has made. There's RPGs where you play the role of a specific character, like Geralt of Rivia, in which you play as Geralt of Rivia, and in certain sequences you play as Ciri or Cirilla. And that's kind of oh god, my phone popped up with "Hey Siri." you play as Cirilla from the Sparrow and or the Swallow, sorry. Like you are to assume the role of that character. And the other type of role-playing game is, as you said, where you craft your character to make it either, if you want, someone who's exactly like you and you can play the role of being yourself in this world, or you can get super creative and play someone who's not at all like you. And both are valid ways to play like a created character role-playing game. So for me, I kind of am on the lines of like, well, I think as long as they're giving you the option, I don't have an issue with it. Like if they said you can have a creative character and you can make it whatever you want, but it has to be transgender, I'd be like, well,
that's like, a problem.
That's a weird way to implement that kind of. I mean, it's kind of it sounds like a dirty word these days, but that kind of representation.
Well, unless it's like a game where they're like the world is all transgenders. There's no more more binary genders or whatever.
If that's the premise, then you're right. I guess that does make a certain amount of sense. Although I guess, I mean, from my perspective as a person who's disabled, like I'm literally a cyborg, this is a world where everybody's kind of like me.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, it's not that I think.
Do you feel represented?
Oh, I mean, I guess sure, but like ultimately, it's like it's not physically me. That's gonna be. It might be a version of V that kind of looks like me.
Soon it will be. Soon you'll plug into the game.
Yeah, very possibly. But I think ultimately, though, like I wouldn't be offended if you have the option to play your V as someone who doesn't take mods, like is flat out not a cyborg at all. If you're like, no, I'm going to be the person that exists in this world with just like my ability to drive, my ability to shoot a gun. I'm not going to take any of the meds. I'm not going to do any cybernetic upgrades. I'm just going to get through this game with my wits and my aim. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Like, I think
that's a part of the way to roleplay it.
I mean, I think like if that's not an option, I think it maybe should be. And I think the only reason it might not be is I think there's a possibility that some of the upgrades might be inherent to the storyline, like or like that you have to have them in order to progress or like have a version of them. And that's also fine too. But like, I think I will never, ever get upset about a role-playing game giving the player options. I'll be more upset generally with a role-playing game limiting your ability to choose if it wants to still be called a role-playing game.
Exactly. The more options is not a bad thing as long as it's not breaking the in-game lore for me. And that's why I think like the Kotaku article about Baldur's Gate talking about like, no, I know it was a joke, but they're like, making fun of like, no, there's no wheelchairs in here. Why is there no wheelchairs? Why can't I play Brand?
With it being Kotaku, I don't think that was a joke. Like,
that's true. That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
It's the ultimate end state of the mainstream like hyper San Francisco-y games journalism outlets like Kotaku and Polygon and stuff. Like their kind of end state is just like, well, Babylon Bee article or Kotaku.
Is it parody? Who is giving these people money? Wasn't Kotaku going out of business? What is going on?
I mean, someone's giving them money. I'm willing to bet they downscaled a hell of a lot. Jason Schreier got the hell out of there. He's working for Bloomberg now.
Well, he's still writing shitty articles over at Bloomberg. You know what fucking pisses me off with that guy? He does some good. Like I think the EA thing, the BioWare thing was excellent.
His Anthem expose was really good.
But this one sucked.
Every time he goes off about like unionization and crunch, it's like, well, Okay, but Jason, do you have an actual story here, or is it just you found out that some people worked at some later hours and you're pissed, and so now everyone in the industry has to unionize, which means the companies that make games like Genshin Impact in China are going to get all the work, and everyone who's a game developer in the United States is going to have to get a job at Google because
They don't understand how this actually works.
studios are always an option, and that's what I will always. If you're an aspiring game developer, don't aspire to be like, I want to work on Cyberpunk 2077. Job one should be, I want to make an awesome indie game that is simple, a lot of fun, and that people will want to play. Because you will do way better in this industry with that as your goal than I think most people will do trying to get into the like churn of big budget AAA development. Because I think that's the quote quote crunch that makes people burn out. And a crunch is an issue. It's not like that's not a problem at all. And everyone who develops games has the perfect job. That like crunch is a problem, but I think that Schreier's articles seem like a lot of I got to be careful about how I say this. He seems to always see smoke, regardless of whether or not there's fire. It's probably the most charitable way I can put it. And I think that the CD Projekt one is probably a perfect example of that, because his coverage and like talking about how horribly they're being treated and how there's so many people over at CD Projekt that are pissed about having to not be able to see their families. Like, once you look into the actual context of what's actually happening on the ground in that situation, where it's like, it's 6 weeks of them working one extra 8-hour day per week. So like a 6-day work week instead of a 5-day work week. And for that extra day, they're getting 200% pay, and they get 10% of the annual profit shared evenly between everyone in the company.
They're making bank on this.
Yeah, I know. Like nothing about that seems unreasonable.
Well, they're not making a distinction between crunch and overtime. Yeah. What happened at BioWare, this BioWare magic bullshit, that's not acceptable. That you had stress casualties. What the fuck is that? You know what I mean? That's not okay.
Creative suppression, I think, is actually kind of the bigger problem. Like, it's like they were actually saying, okay, this idea you have for a game that's like somewhere between Shadow of the Colossus and what are the things they were saying? Shadow of the Colossus, what was the other game they compared it to? Shit, I'm now forgetting it. But they were saying like big kind of long form games, a long form game where you're like in a survival situation on this planet with like very harsh environments. And then just one of the things they had in the game was like a jetpack that they couldn't figure out how to make work properly. And someone on the game is like, okay, reorient everything in this game to make it Destiny, but with that jetpack. And they're like, what? Like, but that's not the game we're trying to make. And they're like, I don't care. That's the game we want. Destiny, but you're Iron Man. And that became Anthem. So it's like, okay, that was obviously a bad idea. So Schreier doing the expose on like the circumstances that led to that disaster was like good, important work. But being like, oh, there's some people in Poland that have to work an extra day for 6 weeks, for a month and a half.
And they voted on it.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not the same thing at all. And it's very disingenuous to present it as such. And then when he got called out by that, what was it? GameSpot?
It was like Game Informer.
Game Informer. Then he went on a tweetism on Twitter about it, and it's just like, dude, like you clearly have an agenda, you have an angle that you're pushing here, and you just got called out for it. And everyone picked up on it. You know what's crazy? There's content creators, I'm not going to mention who, but there's content creators that I really like that jumped on it, and I waited to talk about it. I'm still working on that video, Crunch versus Overtime, where I compare the BioWare story with this story, and I don't know. I'm really worried. Upper Echelon was talking about it in a video that he did, where you're going to have this spawn of new content creators that hop on the bandwagon of which way is the tide going? Is it hating CDPR right now, or is it loving CDPR? And it's going to spawn a lot of like misinformation.
Yep. And I have a feeling that there is going to be a lot of the mainstream but off the beaten path of mainstream, so like the Kotakus and the Polygons and whatever Waypoint's called now, I think they're Vice Gaming, or if they're totally shut down, they're going to be the ones hammering on how horrible CDPR is and how everything they do is sexist, racist, and homophobic. And then you're going to have places like IGN that are going to act like Cyberpunk doesn't have a single problem. And it's a 10 out of 10. It's the game of the generation. But they're not really going to back that up with anything substantive or compare it to anything else. They're just going to be like, no, this game's awesome because all games are awesome.
Well, it's Cyberpunk 2077. You can't give it a bad review or else,
Exactly.
people lose their mind.
I don't know. Like, and I mean, like, I was keep on saying to everyone, like, it's always funny, even when we did our stream of this Night City Wire, I was the one at the end of the stream that was like, yeah, I was like, as much as I am super excited for this game, I like Jeremy, I think I don't want to misrepresent him, but he said like, yeah, I think this is definitely going to be game of the year, could be game of the generation. And I'm like, I'm not ready to say that as excited about this game as I am, because any game can launch fucking broken.
This could suck. Yeah, it could 100% suck. And that was my big worry about hearing about this crunch thing, or this, I put that in quotes, crunch, is how much are they actually rushing to, like, what do they have left to do? And if they're breaking a promise that they said, and I fucking hate that, but I mean, it's true. They had a plan, something shifted. So I don't know what that is.
I think it's pretty clear. It's just COVID. Like, I mean, which makes a lot of sense.
True, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, like, do people say like, okay, there are some games that are getting pushed back and things aren't going so well. Like, what could have possibly happened? Like, I was like, well, how things been going at everybody's work these days? Because I'll tell you this, it's weird at mine. And like, I haven't had a single day where I've not been being paid because I'm in the military. So I just get my salary regardless. But there's been times where like we're on week rotations and then off for a week and then doing 3 days on, 2 days off because we can't have too many people in the building at the same time. And even now I probably spend 2 days a week doing medicine and 3 days a week acting as a doorman, asking people COVID screening questions. So like,
do you have a cough?
No.
no, like that's like usually when we walk into anywhere, they're like, yeah, it's like cough or fever.
Yeah, I've got I think like 12 questions that I try to condense into like 8 just so I can get through it faster. And a lot of the time I don't think people are even listening to me at this point. I think they're just saying no. But anyways, like it's one of those things that it would be crazy to think that every single person would just be having, or like everyone's having weird things go on with how their business is organized and structured and how their job is going. But the people making Cyberpunk 2077 are obviously working like full speed ahead, just as normal, no problems. It's like, well, I mean, no, they're probably dealing with a lot of hurdles too. And they probably still know that they have to get this like before Christmas release date. So there is a strong possibility that there's going to be some like pretty game breaking bugs here. And I think that at best, they will be things like frame hitches or the odd crash here and there. At worst, and most critically, and the thing that I think will actually like tank the game, which I'm hoping doesn't happen, because again, I think the game looks great, is things like save file corruption.
Dude.
Because if people get
nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. If you get 25 hours into a game and then go to work and are excited to play the game all day, and then you get home, boot it up, and your save file just doesn't work, and you have to start the whole game over again, most people are going to be like, okay, screw this.
Yeah, I'm not going through all that again. Well, hopefully they like the game so I hope it's not the case, but maybe they'll be like, I love the game so much, I'll do it again anyway.
And there, you will definitely not see me making a video being like, yeah, guys, I know there's serious save file corruption, but it's okay. The game's so good. Look at it as an opportunity to start this great game again from the beginning.
You re-explore it, exactly. It's replayability, dude.
Oh my God, I swear to God, the amount of people who were saying that about the friggin' lazy-ass Spider-Man PS5 remaster. Like, I would be in groups with like normie PlayStation people. They'd be like, well, it looks like I get to get another platinum for Spider-Man. Woo. And I'm like, dude, you're acting like save file incompatibility between a game that came out 2 years ago and its next gen version is a good thing because you can get an extra platinum trophy out of it. What do you mean?
Yeah.
That if you want to replay the game, delete your save file. Like, I mean, it's not that hard. If you really want to start from scratch and have to like grind out all the side quests and everything and 100% the game again, delete your save file. And
it's a feature. None
of them will do that. And it's like, okay, so you're taking bad news from a game that you like and spinning away to defend it because you like the game. And that bothers me so much because I'm like, look, I really, really like Bloodborne. Bloodborne runs like shit. I love the game. I think it's great. I think it's a beautifully designed game. It has some of the best art direction I've ever seen in a video game and a few of my favorite boss fights of all time. Its performance is fucking horrible though, like to the point that I get bothered while playing it a lot of the time that I am playing it, and I wish for nothing more than a version of that game that runs at a solid 60 frames a second.
Well, somebody, I guess Gonzalo actually pointed out, I guess a fan cracked it to where it was running at 60 FPS.
Yeah, I know that actually is true.
And then just give it to us on PC. Like, we got Horizon Zero Dawn. Give us that.
And that's sort of what I'm hoping that, like, in fact, every video I've made on Horizon Zero Dawn, I've mentioned Bloodborne. And I really do hope that they just cave and make a PC version for it, because the Souls community on PC is huge. So like, I don't know why they haven't yet, but it is definitely something that I hope gets some official coverage. But like, I think I wasn't bringing that up more to be like, yeah, it's impossible to play Bloodborne at the 60 FPS even if you crack it. It's more that I'm like, that's me talking about a game that I love, but being very upfront and honest about a flaw that I will be the first person to tell you that it has.
Well, yeah, objective.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do as a content creator, though, I think, is love a game subjectively, because like there's aspects of the game that you really, really love, and then pretend disingenuously that it doesn't have a problem that you very well know it has. Like it's like at that point, like you're just lying to your audience, and you're creating a bunch of people who will then probably not think about it as hard as you likely have, and just take your word for it and think that you're right. And then they're going to be getting in those arguments with people, acting like what you told them was the truth. And like, I just never want to be that guy.
Yeah. It's not a good look for sure. Yeah. Well, that was a good conversation about the crunch thing. I wasn't expecting to get to that till after the video, but I'm glad it was a very good segue.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Like I said, I go on a lot of tangents.
It's been working out pretty well. We've gotten to cover way more than I thought we were going to cover. So, I mean, hell, before this, we weren't thinking we were going to be talking about Gotham Knights. So, it was good.
Gotham Knights wasn't even on the agenda.
All right, we'll keep going with this.
Of the world, and a very important aspect of life in the city. You can find them everywhere. In cars, clothes, guns, implants. They are your war paint. As one of our sponsors says, it matters not if you're dead.
Her legs freak me out. They're like stiletto legs.
Yeah.
That's really creepy. I wonder if there's like, that kind of looks like a blade. I like it.
Like, to me, like I've got the amputee brain, and I'm like, I wonder if that's like all prosthetic, or is she wearing armor over the top of actual human parts there? Or like, what's going on there?
I think that's her body. Like,
is really... she a full-on ghost in a shell? Like,
that's what I was gonna say too, about like your body and things like that during the earlier conversation. It's like, you know, what you can replace, where is your consciousness like the only thing that matters, like that kind of thing. More themes of Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Also, I love this billboard here. Set sail for flavor. Only what the hell is that? $1 dollar?
Maybe, yeah.
How the hell is currency gonna work?
Oh no, I guess maybe that's the currency.
Yeah, $1 dollar. Electronic dollar?
Yeah, that's probably it.
Cyber dollar. What the hell is this? This is a cool looking bike with this big ass backrest here.
At a certain point, we're using electronic dollars already. Yeah,
we got Apple Pay and Android Pay on everything. Yeah, there we go. Neo-militarism. Yes, I'm down for that style. It's awesome.
It matters not if you're dead, as long as you're doing it in style.
Oh, the fucking mantis blades.
Yeah, dismemberment. Woo!
Yeah, a lot of blood. Which I'm actually really excited about. I'm hoping that I'm assuming the gore is going to work a little bit better than it did in Witcher. The Witcher, like, it was that flat, like almost like a PNG that was just like laid out.
Yeah.
Be a little more dynamic. Any game, it's a weird detail, but any game that puts bullet holes in the wall and then blood splatter on the wall, that's like a little detail that gets combat like that much more visceral for me.
Yep. Blood effects, I think, are can really make or break how combat feels in a game. I think Ghost of Tsushima is actually a really good example of a game that does very well with that. Like the performance of the game, I'm not really a fan of, but every time I kill something in the game, I'm just like, yeah.
The only thing that I can't say that it bothers me, but it stands out to me is because they're going for that cinematic look with combat. I'm a big fan of ragdoll physics, So I don't care for the stilted way people fall over, but for like the draws and everything, that's clearly like a scripted death. Like when somebody like gets their throat cut and they're like holding it and they're kind of staggering and then they fall over.
Yeah.
But I want like if somebody falls on like a crate to like kind of drape over the crate, kind of like Red Dead, instead of kind of like falling through it or kind of bouncing off of it and then sliding to a normal position.
Yeah, the kind of more refined ragdoll physics that like
I'm hoping for that.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we'll have to see. That dismemberment animation looked pretty good.
Oh, for this? Yeah, I was talking about like if they do Ghost of Tsushima too, the way that they would do those. But this too, yeah. I mean, we got what 3 weeks now to wait? No, a month.
No, just over a month. Yeah. It's the October 16th to 17th today, and it's the 19th of November.
Just over a month. Crazy to think it was announced how many years ago? 4 years ago? 3 years ago?
Longer than that. 2013, I think. 7 years.
Holy shit, no way.
Yeah.
God, I feel old.
I'll see if I can find the initial trailer. It's all CGI, and
yeah, that was the one where the girl who went insane because she had too many implants.
Yeah, and they're kind of taking her out. She's got like the mantis blades and stuff.
That's what I thought that they were originally doing, was we were going to be a part of that squad.
I mean, it might have been. So
because that's what they advertised was that I forget what the actual group is called, but the ones that hunt down the people that get like whatever the sickness is called. You get too many mods.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's the ones that were in the announcement trailer.
Yeah. With that cool like night vision. Well, they're not night vision, but they look like night vision.
Yeah.
Fucking weird and futuristic NVGs. 2011?
Oh, was it that long ago?
That's
I guess you know what? It was whenever I was playing Witcher 2 on Xbox 360. Because I remember hearing about Witcher 3 and then also being like, oh yeah, and they're also working on this game called Cyberpunk 2077. And then I saw that trailer and I was like, oh man, I want to play both of those. Because I really liked even the console version of Witcher 2 that going back to it doesn't run super well, but it actually runs kind of okay on an Xbox Series X, on an Xbox One X. Man, even I made the mistake
that fucking naming scheme is the worst.
Yeah, but the PC version of Cyberpunk 2, Witcher 2 definitely looks significantly better. But yeah, wait, I saw the badge on the guy. Sorry, I'm pawing through the trailer right now. Max Tac,
yes. And then whatever the cyber sickness is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a cool looking trailer. Yeah, the police department, is the badge that you see on there. But
I think they're in one of these trailers. I think the guy in that trailer is in this trailer. It might be this trailer or it was another one, but I've seen him before.
Well, we can show this trailer at the end. It's not very long. It's 2 minutes.
Oh, I'm down. The one where the bullet glances off her cheek.
Yeah.
Them up like sashimi.
4 visual styles are evident in the Night City of 2077, each with its own history, status, and features. Neon hair, illuminated tattoos, and chrome. Function comes second. Looks.
Oh, the timeline of the fashion. Yeah, okay. Now I get
it. This is where like what's the stripper gang called, or the prostitute gang?
The Moxies.
Moxies, yeah. Wow, this is quite the freeze frame here, looking real thick in those booty shorts there.
Another day ahead of us in this city of dreams.
The Fourth Corporate War broke out, and entropism was born.
This is my least favorite.
Vast and deep crises.
Because this just looks like San Francisco to me, and every time I see it, it just makes me angry.
I have a feeling this will probably be, for the most part, how I'm dressed. I think I would just go in like as grungy as I can, but then with like a really nice coat, like a Neil militaristic coat or something.
Yeah, I wonder if you can mix and match and how that's going to affect your cred.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Because I was thinking like a mix between that neo kitsch and the neo militarism.
I was thinking like ratty jeans and like a plaid shirt, but then like a really slick looking leather jacket over it.
That'd be pretty badass. I like who's the guy it's the black guy with the Jaguars or whatever those are. I like his style. He's looking pretty damn good.
Yeah,
He's the one on the poster.
the Neo Kitsch one at the end, or
The Neo Kitsch one. And I also like that Corpo lady, the one that I like the jackets, how they have that like weird thing that goes up to their neck. I don't know what it is about that.
The Mandarin collar.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That looks really cool.
Yeah, it's like Neo's coat in Matrix Reloaded. And
yes. That's probably why I like it so much.
No,
Subconscious.
The one improvement they made to the Matrix sequels is they gave Neo a better coat.
A good coat. Fuck. I love the line in this where they're like the style. Who cares?
It's forced people to find ways
Exactly
to
what this
survive
reminds me
by
of.
any means. Getting the job done, no matter how.
Who cares attitude.
The look. Who cares?
I love this town.
Awesome.
Love it like you might love a mother who popped you out on the steps of an orphanage once and now stops you to ask if you got a smoke for her.
Fuck them. Fuck this job. Fuck this city.
That's the attitude right there.
Deadly elegance without ostentation. Corporate militaristic fashion, mostly seen in the wealthier parts of town. Substance over style, that's the motto.
See, this is pretty interesting. This reminds me of like a Spetsnaz.
I really like the Asian dude in the front suit. I think
This is pretty badass. Like this cut, I don't know. It's something about the angular like lines and everything. Like even on this that I really like.
Man.
This chick's got a weird looking eye going on. I wonder if this is how the tiger claws are. This kind of looks like the tiger claws logo.
Oh, maybe.
I wonder if they are neo-military. I don't know. They kind of reminded me of
They were more like kitsch. 'Cause
Kitsch?
I saw a bunch of their swords and stuff had like bright blue neon.
yeah, neon. I also like the corpo, the substance over style.
Oh yeah, it's the 17th too. Everyone was speaking that talking about the oh crap, Tiger Claws, right?
Tiger claws.
Yeah, talking about them, that reminded me that Sega just has their the 60th anniversary thing, that there is a Streets of Rage and Yakuza crossover game that is free on Steam today.
Oh, nice.
Called Streets of Camarocho. And I just remember because like when I saw the Tiger Claws, I'm just like, I really want them to do a crossover with Sega and have Kiryu from Yakuza.
Yeah, just replace this guy with him. It's perfect. Yeah. That'd be awesome.
It's not available yet, so it's still on wish list, but it is October 17th is the release date.
What do we got? We got for us 2 more hours. Wait, shouldn't you already be in the 17th?
It is the 17th for me. That's why I was like, man, download this now. But and the Sega 60 stuff is all up on Steam right now, but
I saw that.
Can't download the game yet.
Oh, dial. 2 hours. I'll check it out.
Indeed.
That caller.
Celebrities, brain dance stars, business
That guy.
magnates,
I like that
heirs
style.
to corporate fortunes and corporate executives. They abandoned the cold, deadly elegance of neo-militarism and returned to the roots of kitsch, but gave it a fresh, new look.
Oh shit, these hands. Sometimes it seems like I just brushed something and sparks fly.
It's awesome.
I'm tapping out at the snake, though. I hate snakes.
Oh, really?
Thank you for your
I
attention.
like it. It very
We
much
wish you a
fits their
very
style.
pleasant Stay in our marvelous.
I'm not going to say they don't look cool. I'm just like kind of terrified.
You just don't want a snake. You don't want a cyber snake.
My instinct is to kill snakes the second I see them. I once, okay, I don't know if this will count as animal cruelty, but I one time killed a garter snake out of reaction, knowing that it wasn't a threat. I saw it in the woods while I was on an exercise, and I just stamped on its head immediately. I was like, "Oh shit!"
You're like the extreme Indiana Jones.
Well, I mean, like I would say, like scared is, I guess it is fear, but like I don't scream and run away. My instinct is I need to murder that thing before it kills me.
See, I love reptiles. I don't have snakes, but eventually I will. Right now I have leopard geckos, but I'm a big reptile person.
I can deal with it if it has arms and legs. I'm much more okay with it. But I think it's the snake, the slithering, I think is what gets me.
That is very strange. I guess I can kind of understand. I can understand spiders more than snakes.
Oddly enough, I don't have a big problem with spiders. If I see a spider out in the wild, I'm more afraid of it, I would say. But if I saw one like in a friend's house, like they had like a pet tarantula in like an enclosure, I wouldn't be like, ugh, I can't be anywhere near that thing. I don't step on snake.
Yeah, I used to have a really big problem with tarantulas until I started watching a YouTuber, Exotic Lair, and he's got a shit ton of tarantulas. And then I'm like, oh, these are actually kind of cool. Still wouldn't want one, but they're cool. They're just insanely scary when you think about what they are and what they do.
Yeah, what they can do. Yeah. I don't think I would want to sleep in the same house as one on the regular because, like, you know, law of averages, if something goes wrong, you don't want to be in the house when it does. But
and then he loses them, and it's like, oh yeah, no big deal, we'll find it later. It's like, what the hell do you mean? It's like incredibly poisonous. Like, you find it now. Or venomous.
Yeah. Oh, like, so he lets it like walk around outside of an enclosure?
No, but like when you're feeding it or something like that, a quick lesson on tarantulas. There's old world and new world tarantulas. I can't remember which one is the fast one, but there's one, I don't know if it's a genus or whatever it is, but there's old world, new world. One of those two are really prone to bolting and being very quick and very aggressive. And so when you open the lids of some of them, they'll take off. So it's hard to feed them. And so like there's videos where like it'll just get out and it's like, oh, you should probably handle that now.
Yep, it's a big nope from me.
Yeah, no, I'm totally fine with them not being near me in terms of that. I'll look at them in a YouTube video. That's okay. I wonder if this is gameplay or if it's like a cinematic.
That looks like gameplay in a
it's like,
but if you hit play, I'll probably be able to tell you.
Looks like blind fire here.
Yeah, maybe. That looked like gameplay. I mean, it's hard to tell at the resolution and
yeah. Kind of looks like it.
What matters here is the walk you walk.
Oh, hey, L-Dub. L-Dub lives in South Florida where there are lizards.
Who is it?
L-Dub, he's a guy that hangs out on my channel a fair amount. Clearly a fan of the Mandos.
Nice. Yes. Well done. Well done. You're a friend already. I prefer to capture and release rather than kill them. Yeah, see, he's got the right approach.
Well, see, lizards, I don't mind. Like I've seen geckos around in Costa Rica, the place where my sister got married. There were giant iguanas like everywhere, and I had no issue with them at all. But snakes, it's again, it's the Slytherin. If it doesn't have arms and legs, I don't trust it. I don't even particularly like worms. They're just so small and harmless that I don't really get scared of them. But I do kind of get grossed out by them in a weird way.
Which ones?
Like worms. Like I'm not
yeah.
really a huge fan of like fishing. Like my nephew loves to fish, and like I do, and he's 3 and is actually pretty good at catching fish for his age. But yeah, no, I don't. It's like if it doesn't have arms and legs, I don't trust it. Funny coming from a person who is short one leg.
Yeah, you dude, you're one leg short
I'm a third of the way, but towards being everything I hate.
You're becoming one with the snakes.
Yeah.
7 years ago, Jesus, I just pulled up the other trailer here. 7 years ago.
Yeah, see, 2013 is where I was remembering it too. I don't know if
that's insane.
That doesn't mean they haven't been working on it since then. But,
it's probably been, yeah, they've probably been developing it earlier than that.
I don't know if you want to mute this just because it might be copyright music.
Oh, thank you for the heads up. Jesus Christ, I didn't even think about that.
I didn't even remember this having like a licensed song, but anytime I hear lyrics, I get a little nervous.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, so it was all CGI, and like at this point, the game was probably just in the concept stages, but they probably just acquired the license and then put some money into this trailer in order to, I'm assume, get some funding, which I imagine exploded once Witcher 3 came out. So it's very possible that the initial version of this game might have just been a story where you play as one of these Night City police cop guys.
Well, I thought that was the original thing where you're a part of this unit that hunts down the like psychos or whatever.
Cyber psychosis, yeah.
Which is why it reminded me of Psychopath so much. That's why I have that link with this.
And there's the flying car too that Siri famously references in the Easter egg. Oh my god, my phone again. Jesus God,
Was it Siri again?
Yeah, I can't talk about The Witcher. Oh man, we almost named our dog Jojo. We came this close to naming her Siri too, and that would have driven me up the wall.
That's my motorcycle's name.
Siri?
Yep, Cirilla.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this guy right here. This exact guy. He was in he was in another trailer. I really like that headset.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
I'm hoping we can use that.
I don't know how they're gonna handle things like armor.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Like, yeah, especially if they're going hard on fashion, you got to wonder if they're gonna have it so that armor is under your skin and more like prosthetics than your actual clothes, because then you would be able to wear whatever you want to wear aesthetically over top of it. But then again, Witcher had a pretty in-depth armor system. Like, if you eventually like do the end game stuff and find like the Witcher armor, which School of the Wolf armor, that's what you want to do.
My favorite was bear armor, just because I really like the coats.
Oh yeah,
I'm a big fan of anything. I'm usually wearing a flannel or a coat. Even though
I love the way the wolf armor looks, like especially once you get it to the DLC tiers. It's just like, oh man, it was so slick.
I don't think I ever did tier 3 wolf. Well, I don't remember this. He looks like an owl.
Yeah, kind of looks like Night Owl from
Watchmen.
Yeah,
reminds me of or Court of the Owls, like a Talon.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, these trailers are fucking great.
That I think is the thing I'm most excited about with the Gotham Knights game. That tying it back to that, the Court of the Owls story is really good. I think it's probably the best like modern Batman story. If you
did you see the you talk about Snyder's run?
Yeah,
that's my favorite. That New 52 run was amazing.
Yeah, and I think some of the arcs were a little hit or miss. Like I didn't like 0 Year very much, and I was thinking that 0 Year would end up being really good, because I thought that if they did especially it was not long after Batman Begins, and being like, oh, okay, they're gonna do like a new canon like origin story for Batman, like a Batman in his first year, like this could end up being really awesome. And I thought that they went way too ambitious with it, like because Riddler, well, I guess spoilers for the Batman 0 Year, Riddler was the villain in it, and he has some shit where like all of Gotham gets like overgrown with like plants, and I was like, what the, like this happens in Batman's like origin like story, like his first case, he's dealing with all of Gotham being like overgrown by plants.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
That was such a weird thing, especially because Court of the Owls was so like grounded and like not hyper realistic exactly. But it was still like, you know, it was a very threatening, but also sort of street level threat in a way. Like, I mean,
it wasn't world ending.
Yeah, like it was just like, no, this is just these people run Gotham. The Waynes have been a threat to them for a long time. They don't like Bruce Wayne. They have a big problem with him. They either want to make him a Talon or kill him. And in killing him, kill everyone in the Bat family as well. It was cool stuff. And there was like a really neat, the first arc too was very like detective story-ish, and it was like it ends with like Batman trapped in this like underground maze with like all sorts of really kind of like mano-a-mano stuff happening, and not like big like large scale battle stuff. And then the second arc has like Night of the Owls or City of Owls, where they have like the big battle between the whole Bat family and all the
that was the City of Owls like cross Batman comic.
Yeah, and that was basically like the end of the Court of the Owls arc, and it happened right after it. But then I don't know, 0 Year was like, no, instead of going with that like downscaled like gritty thing, we're gonna go super over the top, and like we're gonna make a Dragon Ball episode seem like it's low key.
Batman on a motorcycle, which I mean I'm cool with. That was a badass bike, which I think is what they inspired the bike in this one in the new movie, because it looks kind of similar.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I don't have any issues with their art direction and everything. I just thought that the story was a little weird.
It is weird, and then wasn't there fucking lions in there? Like Riddler had lions or something.
Yeah, I remember there being all sorts of weird like nature stuff that I'm like, since when is Riddler like poison ivy? Like
exactly.
I don't know. I remember getting like halfway through that, and then things start popping off in that weird direction, and the Riddler being like the Batman's first nemesis. And I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I think that I really like most of the run. 0 Year was weird, and I really fell off when Bruce quote unquote died. Spoiler alert, and then Gordon became Batman.
Yeah, Death of the Family, I think, was kind of the peak. Like Court of the Owls and Death of the Family, I think, were the big ones, and Endgame was a little weird. It was okay, I guess. Like anytime you have Joker dying, like I don't know, it's,
that's to sell books. That is like the only reason why they do that. And then they had the Joker's, what was it, the Joker's daughter? I'm like, no, I'm okay with that.
I think I was tapped out at that point. After the Endgame arc, I was just like, okay, I'm out.
I'm good. Gage with the super chat. The 2 dislikes are people with small peen energy.
Yeah. Probably the 2 people that hate me, or more likely, probably 2 people that hate Jeremy, and like
they see Geeks and Gamers and they're just like fucking dislike.
Yeah.
Well, I had a whole thing with Cosmonaut on Twitter earlier today, so maybe it's from that. That was really fun. Oh god,
Cosmonaut.
Yeah, interesting. That was my first interaction with him outside of like an Anomaly stream, so I was just like, oh cool. So now you know that I openly don't like you, so I'm glad we got that out of the way. Formalities now are done. So that was very exciting.
Oh god, the vocal fry that guy puts on. Tell you what, everybody, for the rest of the stream, I'm gonna talk like this as if I don't really care.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, very nonchalant, cool guy. 10 out of 10 would subscribe again. Fucking Cosmonaut. How much time you got left? I don't want to keep you because I know that you're pushing what, midnight right now, or
1:15 now for me.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's all the Cyberpunk content. So I mean, unless there's anything you really want to talk about, that's pretty much what we had planned originally for the stream.
If you want, we could wrap up by talking about Baldur's Gate a bit. I remember you were like, we touched on it a bit, but you were saying that you were getting stuck at a few spotes.
Yeah, this is okay. I pulled this.
Character creation.
Yeah, this was the article that we were talking about earlier. I pulled this up before the stream. Baldur's Gate 3 called out for their basic ass character creation from Kotaku, and this was the article we were referencing earlier, where they were very upset about the lack of a wheelchair. Very ableist game apparently. Wow. And speaking of ads, targeted ads, just a bunch of Hot Toys figures.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Tab is not ableist though.
Tab, yeah, not ableist at all.
Tab
Jesus.
is diet soda for everybody.
So many fucking ads on this website. Yeah, so Baldur's Gate is the game that made me realize that I suck at these kinds of RPG. It's so hard. It's a very difficult game. The combat's very demanding.
Yeah, it's not easy.
And I don't know if it's just me or what, but I feel like every time I get like I get not feared, but I'll get like acid thrown at me. I'll get lit on fire, and I'm like, they do like 10 damage out of my 12 health pool. I'm like, am I doing something wrong? Am I like not spec'd or not geared? I don't know.
I mean, I found there wasn't a whole lot of gear that was even possible to acquire, or at least that my character was able to wear. So like, for example, I was playing as a human rogue, which tends to be what I go with in RPGs. I like fast characters who use light armor, light weapons, and attack quick. I don't know that was the best decision for this game, because I found out probably around the same time frame that you were finding out that you were getting rocked by a lot of the enemies, that this game is very, very heavily tuned towards magic use. So I think if I were to recommend this game to people and be like, hey, what kind of character class should I start? Even though I haven't played as one myself, I almost think that like I found my magic users were the more useful characters that I was using, I think, for the most part. And there is a lot of having to approach the combat situations in this game in really, really strange ways. If you want here, oh wait, I just realized I have full volume on this. If you're looking for something to play, I'll just play the battle that I like reference in my video, and I think is just like absolutely bullshit. Like I actually was writing, in the process of writing, an entire paragraph on how I got 18 hours or like 19 hours into this game, and then ended up fighting these damn minotaurs that were so friggin' broken that I was just like, okay, this game might actually be unplayable at this time. I eventually do defeat them, so I redrafted my script. But Mando, do you see my screen shared?
Settings.
Oh
yeah, right here.
at the bottom. So here, now you can see me fighting these minotaurs here. So that's a magic user guy. He was very, very useful. I'm actually not even sure if this is the clip where I defeat them, but in this video, it might actually cut to me playing Call of Duty with Jeremy and like Lethal and Josiah and those guys, because this was on our Wednesday night Warzone stream where between matches, I would alt tab over to Baldur's Gate because that's the kind of crazy things that I have to do in order to be able to keep up with Geeks and Gamers work in addition to the streams. Luckily, I have a lot of RAM, so it's running a turn-based RPG in the middle of this. Yeah, I think actually I do defeat one of them here.
How much RAM are you rocking?
Me?
64 GBs?
Yeah, 64. 64,
nice.
3600 too. So.
64 Master Race.
Yeah, my computer is a little bit unbelievable. Like it's sort of stupid, and I think I would honestly never be able to justify the amount of like resources I've invested in my computer if it weren't for like my YouTube stuff. Like if I was just playing games on this computer, I would not have a 3090. I might have still been pushing to get myself a 3080, but the 3090 is excessive, and the 64 gigs of RAM. And
that's what I was thinking. I just upgraded to 64 gigs of RAM, and then I've been between the 3080 and the 3090, and I'm thinking like, fuck, man, if I don't know. I can say that I do a lot of workstation stuff.
That jump that Minotaur just did, like he knocked off my magic user off the little cliff there. These Minotaurs they take like four to five attacks per turn. They do area of effect damage, and they can knock you back, which if you fall off one of these ledges, it will actually do like a significant amount of damage. So I was just like, these are not possible to defeat. Like I'm just like,
that's how I feel. Did you fight the bird bear thing? Owl bear?
No. Oh no, I did get to those people, but I told them to not worry about the owl bear, and they just walked away.
I found so you can find its cave. I found its cave, and I'm like, oh, it's in here, and it's got a baby. And I was trying to like read its mind because I as an elf, you have like nature attunement.
Yeah.
And I tried to fight it once, and it just wrecked the entire party. I'm like, can you beat this thing?
Yeah, and I'm willing to bet. I haven't fought the owlbear. I'm willing to bet though the answer is yes, because I honestly thought that these two were flat out impossible. Like I was like, okay, this might be an early access balancing thing. This game might actually not be winnable at this point. And even when I because if I'm super stuck in a game, I'm not beyond looking up, hey, how do you beat these minotaurs? Especially in a game like this, because your strategy might just be way off, and you might be like, okay, I could have dumped 30 hours into this strategy alone and failed every single time. And no one seemed to know. Like there were some videos where it was like, hey, I defeated these minotaurs, and I'm like, okay, well, that guy might be using totally different characters than me, a totally different build. So I didn't actually watch anything, but what I do, I don't think it's here, because I know it was my the girl, Shadowheart. It's her that eventually figures out the thing I need to do to beat this guy, but it's so I got one of my characters is already down. Okay, yeah, it's coming up. I found out the thing to do is not to attack, not to use magic, not to do anything except for one very simple maneuver that you can use as a secondary action at any point.
Push him.
I pushed him. 10% chance to win off the thing. Boom. That's one.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I think I immediately quick save and then alt tab over to Call of Duty. I'm like, yep, no, I'm good. I killed one. Quick save successful.
That's hella funny.
I might have just, I actually captured the footage there, so that's where the clip ends. But I could move back further in the timeline. You can see I actually was playing Call of Duty with them, and just immediately kind of alt tabbed over from Warzone, open Baldur's Gate, and then I tabbed back and kept on doing that throughout the night.
It was really nice that they included you in Call of Duty there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had to unlock the robot-legged guy. The funny thing is though, he's an above knee amputee. I'm a below knee, and he's left leg and I'm right leg. So it's close, but not
close,
quite.
But not quite. Yeah.
I don't feel quite represented enough. But yeah. So my big takeaway for Baldur's Gate combat: find the high ground and push.
Yeah, just always push them off. I'm gonna try that. Well, I can't push the fucking owl bear, but I gotta figure out something of that thing.
Positioning is very important, and you're sometimes at the mercy of just where you end up. But I found that pushing was very effective, and even in the last battle in the game, pushing helped a lot.
I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm probably actually gonna play that tonight for some B-roll.
Yeah, it's
So I still got to work on 3 videos right now, which is fucking ridiculous. Usually I do one at a time, but
yeah, I am going to be working on my Baldur's Gate video probably for a good chunk of the day tomorrow. And yeah, and I will probably have it done by the end of the week. Yeah, I'm going to hope to have the Baldur's Gate video done by Friday. I recorded it, so it's really just a matter of editing the audio and then starting to cut together the video, and I can probably do that through the work week. But I might also just like go gung-ho with it and just do the whole thing on Sunday.
just bang it out in one day.
So like I those are sort of the ways that I work. I will either, if I have, this is 2,300 words, maybe 24, I think, judging by how many paragraphs I had and how many pages it was. So I'm going to guess that's probably going to be around a 12-minute video, maybe 13. And so sometimes I'll just edit 3 minutes, then another day I'll do 4 minutes, then another day I'll do 6 minutes, and just like whittle away at my timeline until I have a rough cut, and then go through it, add some effects, add some transitions, spice things up, maybe slip in some cutaway jokes, and then I'm done. Or I'll just be like, okay, I'm just gonna sit down and I'm gonna be at this chair for 16 hours, and then I'm gonna be finished, and I can relax a little for the rest of the week.
I need to get more into that mindset, because usually when I sit here now, I have 3 monitors, and I'm like, I'm procrastinating too much.
I only have one like that, and my monitor is 1440p. So I've got a Ryzen 9 3900X and an RTX 3090.
Get some monitors, Jesus.
We're a 1440p monitor. It's a G-Sync that's 165 hertz, so it looks damn good. But yeah, no, I found that anytime I tried to hook up a second monitor, I was like either sacrificing performance in games that I was playing. Or here, I'll stop sharing now. Either sacrificing performance in games, or was getting weird things where like it would capture the black screen that was on my second one when I wanted to capture footage, and not my screen that's actually capturing gameplay. And for me, if I do 20 minutes and like, because 20 minutes are kind of the intervals in which I can capture and do something epic in a game that's going to look really good for footage, and I hit Alt F10 and that footage doesn't capture properly, I want to shoot myself. It's so cripplingly horrible to me that I sort of just like, I'm just going to have one monitor. It's going to be 1440p, so I don't have to worry as much about tweaking things for performance, because if I end up with a trash frame rate in a video, it's going to bother me more than if it's 1440p instead of 4K, because I don't think 4K really makes that big of a difference.
Well, how many people are watching 4K right now anyway?
I don't know. The one 4K video I made in the last little bit was my Death Stranding. It's amazing that I immediately said Metal Gear. My Death Stranding video, and that's because I played that one on the rig in my bedroom, and the DLSS makes that game run really, really well at 60 frames a second in 4K. But yes, it is over Minotaur. I have the high ground. Spoiler, really? There may be a high ground joke and cut away to Obi-Wan in the video that I'm about to start editing.
That's what you get when you come to the stream, the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. You get the inside scoop on the new videos.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess if you guys want to see my full video on the Cyberpunk video that we were just kind of responding to more in live for, although I guess I did it on the entire stream, not just the trailers. That's on Geeks and Gamers today. I guess am I wrenched in your chat? Actually, I don't even have this thing up.
Can you put a comment in there?
Indeed, I shall. I gotta just bring up this. I've just been looking at the chat in StreamYard. I haven't actually had YouTube.
Same here. Yeah, I've not pulled up YouTube.
This is why if I haven't been responding to you in the chat, it's not because I don't like you guys. It's because I actually was just too lazy to bring up a window. But yes, say the line.
When it finally pulls it, there we go. Hey, General Kenobi. I wish Cool Man was here. He does a really good Grievous.
The best Anomaly has the best Star Wars impression I've ever heard. Like his
Watto's.
Yeah, his Watto is unbelievable. I was like actually kind of creeped out when I first heard it. I was like, you're playing a recording. No,
he actually was the voice of Watto. He's just not telling us.
He's significantly older than he's telling any of us.
That's why he doesn't talk about his age. It's actually like in his like late 50s, early 60s.
I'm usually pretty open about my age. Like I am older than most people think I am. So I usually find the best thing is to lean into that. So yeah, so the link I just posted in chat is my Cyberpunk 2077 Night City Wire recap. I add in some jokes and some like light commentary and stuff, probably less significant commentary than what you guys have heard on this podcast. But and in the description, there's a link to all the other Night City Wire recaps. So there's similar videos on those things, and I don't know, there's some funny things. In this one, I think the funniest joke I have is we keep on making jokes about Lethal Lightning says that he's in love with Holly Bennett, the girl that runs the Cyberpunk streams. So I'll often refer to her as some version of his wife. And then cut to this line we have of him saying, "Yeah, wrecked." And we have one of Krista Nova saying it too. And in this one, I cut to both of them saying it at the same time.
Awesome.
So
that girl, she's Australian too, right? Not Krista.
No, oh, yeah. No, Lethal Lightning is.
Krista's Canadian.
Oh, Holly Bennett, you mean?
Holly Bennett.
I definitely know Krista's Canadian. Otherwise,
yeah.
She's been really pulling a fast one on us. Holly Bennett, is she? I thought she was English, but I don't know. Now I'm trying to think about her accent. I'm like, is it?
I don't remember. Maybe she's English. Maybe I'm being racist against Australians.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm assuming she's going to be in Europe if she works for CD Projekt. And I don't know. England seems. I don't know. We need a what's it called? An accent expert.
I'll ask my Australian Siri. That's definitely the accent that I have on there.
This, and he's gonna be she is Australian, he's gonna be pissed that I didn't know that.
Or she's not Australian, he's gonna be like, fuck that guy, and he's gonna unfollow me. The disrespect comparing English people to Australians.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, Europeans think I'm American all the time. I don't really care. It's like, all right, yeah, we sound pretty similar.
Kind of. There's definitely maybe it's because I'm an American. You can hear it, just like Canadians. I mean, shit, you'd probably be like, you're not Canadian.
I don't know. If you told me you were Canadian, I wouldn't be liar. But then, Canadians, I don't know. We a lot of us sound different. So, I mean, I grew up in Toronto, especially. So I have friends who had very heavy Filipino accents, very heavy Russian accents, Israeli accents. There's all sorts of people I grew up not sounding like me. Italians too.
Well, isn't Toronto pretty diverse?
Yeah, that's the thing. So it's one of the reasons why your country kind of just to not get political, but sort of I have a gag about your country's exploding into a race war in the Cyberpunk video. Yeah. Canadians don't really understand that exactly unless they're lying and trying to make it sound like they do, because I don't know, I'd say class was probably a bigger divide for us than race. We would always just have, at least in Toronto, again, it's pretty.
Well, that's the thing. That's what it would be here, but people are idiots and they're like, no, it's a race. I'm like, well, you're equating it to that, but okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that historically our bigger point of racial conflict was more dealing with the indigenous people, less so than because we didn't have slaves exactly. There was definitely some bad things that happened with our original settlers and the indigenous population.
It's the same thing here, yeah.
We didn't have slavery or a civil war to stop slavery. So I think there's less tension between Black Canadians and white Canadians or anything like that, just because I don't know, for the most part, all of us got here relatively recently. Also, I'm Italian, so my family's been here since 1910s, maybe not that, but I mean, that sounds like a long time ago now, but it's not like we've been here for 200, 300 years, right? It's we were fresh off the boat immigrants, or my family, not we, because I wasn't born, obviously. I'm not a vampire, I swear.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're some kind of weird warlock.
I mean, Italians weren't exactly the upper class, Italian immigrants especially, so I don't know, we don't really have that kind of divide in Canada that I've noticed. But I mean, again, you'll hear different stories from different Canadians, but I don't know. I've never once thought about a girl. I mean, I'm in an interracial relationship, X-ray girls, Vietnamese, and I've never thought about a person I've dated or been friends with and been yeah, but I don't know, they're not white enough or not Italian enough. I don't know. I need to be around more Italian people. I've actually never once dated an Italian girl.
And you're the opposite. You're on the other end of the spectrum.
Not out of choice either. I've just I don't know, me and I've never been in a situation where me and an Italian girl were attracted to each other and decided to date. That's
you're almost two human beings, and that's really all that matters, right?
Yeah,
it's the same thing. I'm in the Bay Area, so this is an incredibly diverse area, and I think we're in a bubble here in terms of most of the United States. But that's the same thing where it's not really something that comes up all that often, because there's Indian people, Asian people from all over the place, every Asian country, and it's a majority of Asian and Indian people, but also Middle Eastern people. It's super diverse here, and that's not something that really pops up all that often, which is why when people talk about like the race tensions, I'm like, oh shit, that's not really here.
Yeah, no, it's like I don't really see it, at least in my day to day. Like, honestly, I mean, the biggest effect it has on my life is, well, I mean, there's pretty sweet restaurants around here.
Yes, dude, you get all the nice mom and pop shops, and yeah, that's what it's all about.
It's like, man, you can get awesome burritos and awesome Korean barbecue on the same street.
These are the advantages of living in the diverse areas.
Indeed.
This is why we need more diverse food locations in Baldur's Gate. I'm going to write an article about it.
That's what we need. We need more Githyanki food. Those dragon
Yankee food.
Is it the Githyanki, like Lysel's race?
Oh.
Those dragon riders, they know how to cook up some owlbear.
I thought you said Yankee food. I'm like, you mean like burgers? You want like burgers and hot dogs? Is that what we're talking about?
I don't know if I was pronouncing that right. Even in my video, I was like Githyanki, because like, I mean,
they weird ass names.
They factor into the intro of the game heavily, so I had to say them.
That's true, because that's what are they? I keep calling them Lizard Girl, whatever. That race.
Yeah, they kind of look slightly orcish, like more on the elf side of orc,
Like an elven orc.
Yeah, and they ride dragons, and the big thing is that you begin the game on a Mind Flayer airship, and the dragon riders from her race, the Githyanki's, take out the Mind Flayer ship, or like damage it heavily enough that you can escape. So it's very important to, like, when you're setting up the premise of the game, you do have to say, yeah, and then, like, I guess I could have said, yeah, and then some dudes on dragons come and fuck up the squid ship thing, and
yeah, you go the mocking review route, or the facetious route.
Yeah, I know, and like, I mean, every so, like, I do have a couple jabs at like the D&D players that I gave in love, obviously, like, cause like I'm playing I just put 20 hours into a Baldur's Gate game. Like, I obviously don't think you're a nerd if you play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
like I explain what a D20 is, because I think kind of the premise I have for the review is like, me as a person who's never played Dungeons and Dragons and has played like 4 CRPGs in my entire life, like, and 2 of them were Knights of the Old Republic games. I don't really know what I'm talking about with this genre, but here I'm going to tell you from the perspective of a layman and like what I thought of the game, and then say like, and then you roll a D20, which, if you don't know, that's the thing that nerds use to play their apparently pretty awesome wizard game.
It's like, that's like the kind of humor that I relate to. I'm a pretty dry person for the most part, so I'm totally down for, 1, self-deprecating humor, and 2, kind of poking fun at obviously something that you actually like. It's like, I was watching a video. Do you know Cynic Snacks?
Yeah.
So
well, it was the funniest thing. He commented on like a video on my channel.
Oh, really?
Like, what the? Like that's random. I was like, did Cynic Snacks just find one of my videos at random? And then 3 days later, I got invited onto EFAP. So I was like, oh, I wonder if like someone reached out to him saying like, hey, like this Marc The Cyborg guy is a big fan of EFAP. Like, it would be pretty cool if he was on the 100th episode. And then maybe, I don't know, Cynic Snacks went to go like check me out to be like, yeah, let's see if this guy's actually like worthwhile, or if he's just some like scrub YouTuber. And then Cynic Snacks like leaves like a nice comment on my video. And I was like, oh, hey, I know you.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. Yeah. I was watching his newest review. He was doing like that Faith Picks or whatever the hell it is, the religious version of Nitpicks. And he was like, this one girl gets stabbed in the back with a knife, and he's like, and then she dies because of knife. And it's like, like that kind of stuff. I'm super into that. That guy's hilarious. I didn't know you were on EFAP 100.
Yeah. What's funny is I was the only person on Geeks and Gamers who ended up being on it, because Jeremy, Ryan, like people that were actually on EFAP prior to 100 were just busy that day.
Damn.
And for me, I was like, yeah, this is like kind of this is like a lifetime goal of my YouTube career. I mean, lifetime, like in the time that I've been a YouTuber, being like, oh man, it would be really cool if I could get onto EFAP one day, was probably what I was thinking when I made my first video. So like, yeah, no, like it was just randomly Mauler DM'd me on Twitter, and I was like, whoa. I was like, hold up. How did this happen? And I still to this day don't know how it happened, because Jeremy swears that it wasn't him. He's like, I didn't mention anything to Mauler about bringing you on EFAP. He's like, I don't know. He's like, I have no idea. Mauler just messaged you random, had nothing to do with me. And I'm like, how?
Dude, that's awesome.
Jeremy, you would be my guy that knows Mauler well.
No, man, you did it yourself. You put in the legwork. No pun intended.
I still think it was something. My Nerdy Home, I think, tweeted something about me being on EFAP being pretty cool. And I think maybe someone picked up that tweet and said, I have theories, but they're all conspiracy theories.
You look like Charlie Day with the pin board behind you.
Yeah, I've got the yarn board. I mean, like the conspiracy of how I ended up on EFAP.
That's fucking awesome, dude. Well, I think that's all I have. That was a nice way to end talking about EFAP. Hopefully we see you on there. I gotta watch that. I didn't watch the whole thing, so I'm gonna have to. Do you know where you're at in that?
I'm in part 1 on Mueller, about I think 6 hours and 45 minutes in.
I like how that's part 1, 6 hours in.
Yeah, I know, because it's like a 30-hour stream in total. EFAP 100 for people who don't watch the show. It's normally a pretty long podcast, but episode 50 and episode 100 they do the entire day. And they did 30 episodes for episode 30 hours for episode 100. I am responding to Ben Shapiro's ranking of the Star Wars films with Aiden Paladin, Mahler and Rags, obviously, and Critical Drinker pops on for a little bit of it. I think Cynic Snacks was there for a good chunk of it too. I'm starting to kind of forget exactly who was on there. I was getting so overwhelmed. I remember Literature Devil came on at the very end just as I was leaving. And I got subbed out for Mark After Dark. And he's probably the one that I interact with on Twitter most frequently now, even though we didn't even say a word to each other on the stream.
That's hella funny.
Hey, man, I'm the other Mark. See you later.
I saw you tweet at him. You're talking about like how he's cool even though he spells his name wrong.
Yeah. Well, that was the joke that I made, like leaving EFAP. I'm like, okay, yeah, Mark with the wrong spelling coming on. I see how it is. But no, it's like similar to you. I guess like we're both like fans of Kojima and stuff, and like Resident Evil games, and think Resident Evil 3 remake was kind of bad. And like
it was definitely bad.
He and I have pretty common opinions on games, so we find we are frequently liking each other's tweets.
Yeah, Mark seems like a cool dude. Speaking of tweets. Just as we wrap up, and thanks for everyone who's stuck around. 3 hours is definitely not on the level of a 6 hour podcast, but this was a lot of fun, and I appreciate you, Mark, for coming on, dude. It was really nice getting to talk to you.
It was fun.
We had we got to interact for like 10 minutes on Anomaly's stream, so I'm glad we got to do this, dude. Where can people find you and the Geeks and Gamers channel? I linked some of them, and Lou was putting them on there, but just so we can talk about it again. And your links.
The main Geeks and Gamers channel is where my videos are currently going up. I think the easiest way to find just all my stuff though is just on my own channel, and it's Marc The Cyborg, which I think someone's put a link to, and I have a playlist that is I think all of my Geeks and Gamers videos. So I'll just I'll share over that playlist for you guys if you want. So if you want to see my Geeks and Gamers videos that have been spread across the 2 Geeks and Gamers channels that I work for, this playlist has all the stuff I've done for them, and it's on my channel, so you guys can find my own channel there. And yeah, so that's pretty much that. And tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, so it would be 10 a.m. for you, Metal Gear Mando. We do the Gaming with Geeks podcast now on the main Geeks and Gamers channel. So yeah, if you want to hear me talk about more video game stuff, that'll probably be what we're doing tomorrow, though I think we might be pretty light on topics because not a lot happened this week.
Yeah, it's kind of that's what we were talking about earlier. It's dry out there right now.
Yeah, last week was pretty dry too. So
Cyberpunk 2077 is coming. We'll be getting some juicy content.
Before that, the new consoles too,
that's right. November 11th.
I imagine that we'll probably be talking about the PlayStation spyware stuff where they're recording all your chat conversations.
Yes.
That seems like it was the spiciest news. We try to not make it a drama podcast, so it's not like, oh, this crazy scandal is happening in the industry, let's talk about it. It's more just like we shoot the shit about video game news. But yeah, I don't know what we're talking about exactly tomorrow, but maybe I should check my group chat and I'll find the topics. So I can't tell you about the topics, but 1 p.m. Eastern on Geeks and Gamers, we'll be there live. Everyone, hopefully you can find some time, go check it out. And again, thanks, Mark, for coming on. And thank you to everybody who stuck around for the whole stream. It was really fun. Definitely need to schedule these podcasts a little more regularly. Right now, my work schedule is kind of fucked, so it's difficult to do that, but trying to get on a more consistent schedule. So thank all of you for hanging out. And also thank you to everybody who super chatted and donated. The support of the channel is always appreciated. You guys are fucking legends. And yep,
that's it. That's going to do it for this episode of MGM Prime. Hope you all enjoyed, and we will hopefully have Mark on at some point in the future. I know he's a busy man, but hopefully we'll get him back. Maybe Lady Gravemaster. We got some things cooking for episode 3 already, so we'll see how it goes. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you folks in the next video. Enjoy your evenings.
Adios, everybody.